square of awakening. A guy with red hair and a black turtleneck and sports sweatshirt with a happy face, thinking about the fact that since he was in this world 10 years have passed. Finally, the long-awaited day has come. The world in which the protagonist finds himself combines reality and game elements. When the people of that world turn 18, they awaken various abilities that allow them to go beyond the limits of human capabilities. A blonde man with a chicken on his head stood on the stage, and a sign hanging above him read, "Congratulations Zhu Kungkai on your successful awakening." The attribute of the class was domestic. The name of the class was poultry farmer. The guy exclaimed that his family now had an heir to the chewed chicken network. All classes are divided into 3 types: martial, domestic, and supportive. If a person awakens a household class, it won't be much different from a normal person without a class. The supporting class requires a huge amount of resources at the start of its pumping, so if not from a rich family, it will be very difficult to become a strong enough support. A red-haired girl is sitting on the stage, crying and saying that she doesn't want to fight. She just wanted to be a pretty girl and grow flowers. Above her is a sign that says, "Congratulations to Yang Shulin on her successful awakening." The attribute of the class is combat. The name of the class is gunner. The protagonist thinks about the fact that it was the combat class that he had dreamed of awakening from the beginning. There are countless different dungeons, forbidden or secret areas, and monsters in this world. The protagonist also wants to awaken the fighting class, start fighting monsters, protect the dungeons, become stronger, and then he, Lin Han, will absolutely become the strongest person in this world. Someone taps Lin Han on the shoulder. It was a guy with light brown hair dressed in dark blue clothes. Lin Han turned to him. Wang Qiang. Wang Qiang whispered to Lin Han that it was his turn. Lin Han turned around and saw a woman in a business suit with long dark hair who was very angry. Wang Qiang kept whispering to Lin Han that the class teacher had been staring at him for a minute, and there was no one in front of him. Class teacher Yang Zuwei crossed her arms on her chest and with a serious face told Lin Han to stop breaking discipline on the day of awakening. Lin Han ran to the stairs very quickly. Wang Qiang wished that they would awaken the martial class together. Lin Han promised that he would return as king soon. Lin Han climbed up the stairs. At the top stands a man wearing a blue cloak and a hood on his head. The man told Lin Han to stand inside the formation and not to resist its power. There is the grain of a true warrior inside Lin Han, and he has high hopes for Lin Han. The awakening of a class has a lot to do with character, but the will of the awakened person himself also affects it. Therefore, Lin Han has been laboring to obtain the martial class since his appearance in this world. Lin Han walks into the formation and a huge pillar of light immediately pours out. The people standing around the information stage are surprised by Lin Han's strength and start whispering about it. Everyone is thinking about what kind of powerful class Lin Han will get. Wang Qiang goes to the class teacher to ask what is going on now. The class teacher tells her that besides the 3 main classes, there are rare and secret classes. She fixes her hair and says that only a secret class could cause such a strong reaction. Wang Qiang cries out that Lin Han is destined to become one of the strongest warriors in the world and looks towards the stage. Lin Han is very surprised and disappointed at the same time, and a sign above his head reads, "Congratulations Lin Han on your successful awakening. You have obtained the achievement Secret Class Awakening." Class attribute hidden. The name of the class is Sacrificial. Lin Han begins to think about why he got the Supporter class. The confusion and surprise makes him feel uncomfortable, and he becomes speechless. The hooded man says that he can't believe Lin Han got the Sacrificial class because he had high hopes for him. Wang Qiang asks the hooded man in confusion why Lin Han got such a level since he has a huge amount of talent and everyone here has seen it. The hooded man says that the sacrifice class is a real anomaly among the classes. People with this class can strengthen their allies with chance. It is a very powerful support class. However, the path of refining this class is very difficult. The class cultivation system has 10 realms, which includes 10 levels each. However, because it is a capricious hidden class, it will have to absorb the special source of power that arises within the heavenly tribulation in the initial stages. Image of a pyramid divided into 10 levels. The class teacher adds with a sad face that no one in history has ever reached more than level 10, and this class is considered the most useless in the world. Wang Qiang cries out confusedly that the heavenly wall is a real natural disaster and its power can be compared to a forbidden spell from legends. The class teacher comes up to Lin Han to support him and tells him not to be discouraged. Lin Han scratches the back of his head and pulls a smile on his face. Lin Han leisurely walks home looking at his characteristics. On the plaque it says, Name, Lin Han. Class, Sacrifice. Level, First level of the first realm. Energy, 100. Dexterity 30, Magic 50, Stamina 110, Strength 120. Lin Han's mind was thinking that 3 of the 5 characteristics exceeded 100, and if he saw such characteristics in the martial class he would be jumping for joy. Lin Han decides to take a look at his skills. Magic Suppression, an exclusive passive skill that suppresses magical elements within 50 meters of you and turns them into your own magic power. Healing. Chant the Song of the Goddess of Life. You descend a healing aura that flows into the bodies of your allies and begins to heal them. Song of Summoning the Souls of the Dead. By chanting the Song of the God of Death, you release an aura of death that weakens the bodies of your opponents and can summon some random undead. Song of Seduction. By chanting the Song of the Fallen Goddess, you emit an intoxicating aura that can put you to sleep, cause hallucinations or partial blindness, and drive you into madness. Song of Blessing. By chanting the Song of the God of Chaos, you release a blessing that inflicts a single effect on your allies with a random effect. But the results are even more frustrating for Lin Han. He says that even if he got a household class there would be no difference and scratches the back of his head, seasoning one eye. Suddenly, he gets a notification. Lin Han's eyes start to shine and a genuine smile appears on his face as the message says that Lin Han has finally logged in and is being given a 10,000 reinforcement bonus. The first thing Lin Han does is ask the system to go through and boost everything 10,000 times his status. The system has completed the amplification and asks the owner to check his status. The plaques say, Name, Lin Han. Class, Sacrifice. Level, First level of the First Realm. Energy, 1 million. Dexterity, 300,000. Magic, 500,000. Stamina, 1,100,000. Strength, 1,200,000. Magic Suppression, an exclusive passive skill that suppresses magical elements within a 500 kilometers radius of you and turns them into your own magical power. Guardian Angel, Forbidden Skill Level. By chanting the Song of the Goddess of Life, you can resurrect a portion of allies fallen in battle. Mechanical, elemental creatures and undead cannot be resurrected. Undead Resurrection, Forbidden Skill Level. You are likely to produce a demonic creature. After the battle, 30% of your opponents will be reincarnated as controlled undead, not counting non-living opponents. Fallen One's Intervention, Forbidden Skill Level. By chanting the Song of the Fallen Goddess, you inflict 2 types of negative effects on all enemies with a 15% chance of forcing the enemy to surrender regardless of their will. Chaos Region, Forbidden Skill Level. Chants the Song of the God of Chaos. You create an area where your allies receive 2 random effects. The enemy can be randomly attacked with various forbidden spells, ice arrows, chain lightning, meteor shot, and terrible judgment. Seeing the result, Lin Han thought that now he had a chance to enter the heavenly tribulation. A panting Wang Qiang ran up to Lin Han. The second Wang Qiang finally caught up with him. Wang Qiang kneels down and tries to catch his breath, asking Lin Han why he sneaked out so quickly after waking up because he has something to say to Lin Han. Lin Han has nothing to say, so he just apologizes, standing there looking confused. Wang Qiang says that in 7 days the main exam to enter the academy is coming up and that they must go there. So from now on Lin Han and Wang Qiang must go to the dungeon to become stronger. Wang Qiang and Lin Hai turn around with smiles disappearing on their faces. Behind Wang Qiang and Lin Han, a guy with purple eyes, purple hair, wearing black clothes and accompanied by 2 other guys appears and says that Lin Han has awakened the most useless class and he should go work somewhere as a laborer. Wang Qiang stands up for Lin Han and says that Gao Chun has no right to consider himself better than Lin Han since he himself has gotten the thief class. A guy with purple hair named Gao Chun comes closer to Lin Han saying that he always said that grades in school don't mean anything. Gao Chun with a cheeky grin tells Lin Han that those born into poverty will always remain trash. Lin Han with an annoyed face closes his eyes and tells Gao Chun to be an obedient dog and get out of the way, to which Gao Chun shouts angrily. Gao Chun is furious at Lin Han and says that he has no right to talk to him like that. Even at school Lin Han was just trash to him. Without wanting to listen any further, he punches Gao Chun in the face with his fist. Gao Chun was hit by a powerful explosion and flew into the wall. Gao Chun's back slammed into the wall with force, and a hole was created in the wall with many cracks and his face was cracked. Lin Han clenched his fist in rage and told Gao Chun to prove that he can defeat Lin Han with one hand. One of Gao Chun's men runs over to help him up, while the other stands in shock at Lin Han's strength. Lin Han stands in a confident pose and calls out to Gao Chun to continue. He rises to his feet and shouts for Lin Han not to be arrogant because in a couple of days he will reach level 10 or even higher and Lin Han will remain at the bottom. His face is all bruised and furious. Lin Han hits his hand with his fist and the 3 of them get scared. Gao Chun and his henchmen leave at last. Gao Chun says he will be back soon. Wang Qiang tells Lin Han that he is sure Lin Han will definitely become a great man. Lin Han says Wang Qiang is exaggerating. It's late and it's time to go home. Lin Han returns home at sunset, wading through a horribly damaged road and wondering when it will be repaired. When he arrives at his house or Han's house, he sees that the door is open and the lights are on in the windows. Lin Han, with a tired and sad face, thinks about what to tell his parents. With his head down and dejected, Lin Han walks up the stairs to the house and thinks that his parents will be very disappointed. Lin Han opens the door of the house. Lin Han enters the house saying that it smells delicious and he thinks about what his dad cooked today. He is greeted by his dad coming out of the other room in an apron and his mom holding the food. Lin Han's mom says that of course dad cooked because today is his waking day, and the boss let them off early from work. Lin Han takes a bite from the plate with his hand and mom tells him to wash his hands first. It's already dark outside. The whole Lin Han family sits at the communal table. His father says that Or is quite old enough to offer him a drink with him. Squinting, he agrees. Dad pours the alcohol, starts to pick up the words to tell his parents the news, but they say the class teacher already called and told him everything. Lin Han apologizes. His father, with a blush on his face, tells Lin Han that he shouldn't be discouraged because he didn't become a warrior like he dreamed. And his mother adds that you can make a name for yourself with any class. Mom, Dad, and Lin Han toast to Lin Han's bright future. Dinner is over and there are dirty dishes on the table. Mom starts washing the dishes. Lin Han asks if she needs help, to which she says no. Strange dark wooden box. Father, stammering over his drink, asks Lin Han to come over to him. Lin Han holds the mysterious box and asks what is it. The drunken father, with a blush on his face, sits on a chair with his head tilted back, almost asleep, and says it's a gift for Lin Han. Mom peeks out of the kitchen and says it's a gift that has been passed down in their family for generations. Lin Han tries to pick up his drunken father to take him away. Lin Han's mom continues her story. She says that their family was once great. Lin Han is quite surprised to hear this, but he doesn't pay much attention to these words and asks his mom to help carry his father as he is very heavy. It's been quite some time since the gift box was opened on the clock. Lin Han, with an enthusiastic face, stands in a white cloak with his hand raised up holding a wooden staff. Nearby are glowing signs that read, Title, Staff. Position, Staff. Level, Gold. Description: 8% chance to deal additional damage while using earth magic and 10% chance to deal additional damage while using lightning magic. Title, Magic Robe. Position, Clothing. Level, Gold. Description: grants a magical shield. The maximum size of the shield is 5% of the maximum amount of XP. Lin Han uses the system to increase the characteristics by 10,000 times. Lin Han reads the new characteristics of the magic robe and staff with a satisfied face. Title, Divine Magic Robe. Position, Clothing. Level, Legendary. Description: grants a magical shield. The maximum size of the shield 100% of the maximum amount of XP. Name, Divine Magic Staff. Position, Staff. Level, Legendary. Description: with 100% probability, it deals additional damage combined with earth and lightning magic while using earth or lightning magic. Note, due to the item's limitations, the extra damage will only be 100% of the basic damage. A satisfied Lin Han says that mages have always been feared for their long-range spells, and from now on he will be called the master of long-range projectiles. Heavenly Tribulation was changed to Heavenly Calamity to make it clearer. Lin Han is lying in bed getting ready for sleep, looking at his phone and thinking that when he reaches the 10th he will have to enter the Heavenly Tribulation to absorb the source of the disaster, and then he can move to another realm. Lin Han reads the information on his phone about where to find the natural disaster. The information about the Kingdom of Haze pops up on the phone. This kingdom is washed by the sea, so it includes many small islands and volcanic mountains. It is home to many different monsters. Dark storm clouds are constantly gathering over the ocean and often cause a natural disaster. Lin Han's phone receives a notification that says, Wang Qiang has sent you a message. Lin Han goes to chat with Wang Qiang and they chat. The time is 23:57. Lin Han says it is quite late and goes to bed. The next morning, the teleportation area. Lin Han fills in his details and goes to the country of Haze. Identity confirmed. A portal opens. Pushes his hand through the portal. Lin Han goes through the portal. The first thing he sees is a sign that says, Be careful when fighting monsters or you will make your family and friends grieve. Up ahead you will encounter silver poisonous frogs. It is not recommended for those who have not yet reached the second realm to be there. Behind Lin Han, a huge monster appears. The beast starts screaming loudly. Lin Han turns around in fright. In the air, stones like ice or crystals appear out of nothing. From a height, these crystals fly straight at Lin Han. Lin Han stands in a defensive posture and a dome-shaped shield is formed around him, which the crystals flying from above crash into. Lin Han thinks that the magic robe has justified its legendary level. On the ugly dark face of the beast, bright red eyes burned. The silver poison frog stands on its hind legs and lets out a deafening screech. Lin Han continues to be under the shield that the crystals are flying into. Lin Han looks exhausted, clenches his teeth, holds his head and says his head is going to explode. Lin Han receives a warning that the shield only protects against physical and magical attacks. It does not affect long-range mental attacks. Lin Han stands up in a fighting stance, holding his staff in his left hand. Lin Han raises the staff. It starts to glow. Lin Han recites the forbidden spell Chaos Area. A huge burning ball flies to the ground. As it falls, it creates a powerful blast wave. Two people are walking. A soldier in an official uniform tells the minister in a red shirt and gray jacket that the level of magical fluctuations in Huizhou has reached the maximum. The soldier excitedly asks if their enemies have decided to launch a surprise attack. The minister says that Huizhou City is located in the center of the coastal defense line and is surrounded by a dozen large security points of intent, and there is no way the enemy could have launched a surprise strike, and they would have long been aware of their intentions. Another serviceman greets Mr. Mayor. The mayor says to open the surveillance screen. The screen shows a red dot with many circles coming off of it. The mayor says to quickly contact his superiors and find out if there are any people in the general population who can use forbidden spells. A red sign pops up on the screen that reads, "Danger warning of approaching flow of magical energy." The mayor asks the head to put the entire city of Huizhou on alert. They should be able to quickly determine the direction of the magical energy and wait for the next instructions. A storm is brewing in the sea, lightning is flashing, and large waves are splashing. A voice is heard from the radio transmitter saying, "Attention, citizens, the city is on high alert. Please leave your homes and evacuate without panic." There is a crowd of eyewitnesses standing in the street. Huge waves have already reached the city and are collapsing the building. A magical shield is blocking the path of the waves. A man in a special outfit reports that the first wave has been successfully stopped. For the safety of the population, began evacuation. Headquarters is informed that the squad has completed training and is awaiting further instructions. They are ordered to be ready to move out. A digital sign with many different objects on it. Lin Han looks at the spreadsheet and says that even though it took a lot of experience to get to level 10, it's still nice to have a bag full of materials. On the spreadsheet, a drawn book appears and says, "Skill book successfully obtained." A notification comes from the system congratulating him on receiving the skill book and offering to improve it 10,000 times. His eyes sparkle and he happily improves it. Lin Han reads the characteristics of the book on the table on which it is written. Title, Mercy of the Gods. Type, Skill Book. Level, Forbidden Spell. Description, the user can skip basic preparation before spells. In this case, spells that required repetition can be activated instantly. Not everyone is worthy of the favor of the gods. Lin Han thinks about the fact that now he can destroy enemies and heal allies without using chance. This news makes him madly happy. Lin Han is a bit exhausted and his smile has slipped a bit. Lin Han looks at the place that is ablaze with fire because of the volcano erupting there, and says that all he has to do is to get to the center of the disaster and collect the elements of fire and wind. Lin Han looks at the electronic map and roughly guesses where the fire and wind elements might be. Lin Han hops on the rocks surrounded by lava and thinks that the volcanic eruption has turned all the monsters into charcoal, and he doesn't have to worry about them. Lin Han sees a red burning cube and says that he has found the fire element. Lin Han takes the fire element. Lin Han is literally glowing with satisfaction and says he didn't think it would be so easy to get the fire element. But he can't relax because he has to find the wind element. A storm is raging in the sea and tsunamis are forming. Lin Han, standing on a staff, flies into the center of the tsunami. He makes his way into one of the tsunami funnels. Once inside, he finds a huge crystal, which turns out to be a wind element. The Kingdom of Highs. Sunset. Lin Han looks at all the items he has obtained and thinks that he is quite impressed with his abilities, as he has managed to obtain 2 elements in one day, and a lot of different materials that he can sell for a tidy sum. Lin Han decides to return home. Once at the teleportation hall, he receives this information. Urgent notice, due to the high alert level in our city, all teleportation halls will temporarily cease operations. Please follow the staff's instructions and make an organized call to the central shelter. Lin Han is standing at the teleportation portal. People are running around shouting about the coming tsunami. Lin Han asks about what is going on. An employee of the teleportation hall approaches Lin Han and says that the teleport is temporarily out of service due to the tsunami. She is young and inexperienced, so she is very worried, but she continues to do her job and offers to go to the shelter provided. She shows him the direction with her hand and offers to help him get to the shelter since he probably doesn't know the way there. But Lin Han doesn't really listen to her. He clenches his staff tighter in his fist and thinks that this is probably because he used a forbidden spell and now he is responsible for it. Lin Han turns around and walks away confidently, the teleportation square employee shouting after him. Huizhou City is surrounded by a magical barrier, the wall of the residential area. The mages are standing on the wall and supporting the magical barrier. The minister in uniform looks at the fighter with fear, who reports that things are going badly. The magic barrier is at the limit of its capabilities until the next wave is only 5 minutes away. The minister puts his hand out in front of him and orders the two fighters to report to the headquarters and call for reinforcements. The best soldiers who have already reached level 30, as well as ask for help from the nearest cities. The storm continues. Huge waves continue to hit the wall, causing it to crack. Looking at the instruments, the soldier reports that the wall has already cracked. The minister is not happy about this news. He is both surprised and frightened as he did not expect the cracks to go so fast. Minister Sarova squints and furrows his eyebrows menacingly. He has decided to do something serious and thinks that there is no other choice. The minister puts his hand to the wall with magic, creates a pentagram, and orders all the soldiers at his command to deploy a shield and transfer all their magical powers to it, in order to push the waves back until the tsunami reaches their city. He orders them to spare no effort. The soldiers instantly accept the order and a new magical shield begins to form over the wall. One soldier has already fallen to his knees in exhaustion. The remaining soldiers have also spent almost all of their strength. The minister menacingly clucks his tongue and thinks that this is the last day for their city. Lin Han's magic staff begins to glow, emitting magical energy sounds. A song of blessing around the fallen soldiers begins to hover. Unknown magic that gives them new strength. All of them are surprised, cannot understand who and what is happening. Wasting no time, they put all their strength back into it and continue to build the magical shield. The soldiers report that they have successfully erected the shield just as the waves hit. They manage to hold them back. The minister confidently continues to issue orders. He tells the soldiers to continue to maintain the barrier, and those who still have strength left to use teleportation magic to carry the tsunami away from their city. Inside the barrier, the teleportation magic begins to activate and all the water is sucked in. The clouds slowly dissipate. The huge waves are gone. The sea subsides. The water level returns to normal, and the barrier disappears. The minister rounded his eyes and said in a daze that they had succeeded. All the soldiers cheered. Lin Han floated above them in the sky, standing on his staff. With a slight blush on his face and a careless smile, Lin Han says that it's all thanks to him. Lin Han is relieved and says that it was very dangerous and that the power of the forbidden spells terrifies him and he has to be very careful when using them and cannot let this situation happen again. Lin Han is distracted from his thoughts by the ringing of the phone. Lin Han puts the phone to his ear and his mom's voice comes out of the phone, saying that she heard about the tsunami and was worried about Lin Han. But he didn't pick up the phone. Lin Han said that everything was fine, but he didn't pick up the phone because he had no reception in the shelter and would be back soon. Now completely finished with the business, he decided to send home. While planning tomorrow, he was going to first go to the upgrade hall and take the tasks there, and also wanted to exchange the materials he received. Schedule ancient building upgrade hall. Lin Han took a form to fill out. Lin Han is sitting on a chair at the desk. Opposite him is a female employee wearing a white shirt and tie, and on his head is a pen law. The employee takes a form from Lin Han to verify the information. Name: Lin Han. Age: 18 years old. Occupation: student. Class: altar boy. After recognizing Lin Han's class, the employee looks at him with disdain and says with little desire that there are two types of assignments for upgrading. The first type, prepared assignments, which are usually of difficulty level or B. The second type, random assignments selected by the system and determined by random chance. The second type, random assignments selected by the system. The difficulty level is also determined randomly. Out of the two options, Lin Han runs out two. A female employee holds out a stand with a blue-colored magic ball to Lin Han and tells her to put her hand on the ball and pour some of her energy into it. Looking at Lin Han, the girl thinks that he is just another visitor who just wants to try his luck and catch some easy task. Her thoughts are interrupted as the system has finished determining. She looks at the monitor and sees what it says. Notification: the system has selected a suitable upgrade quest for you. Head to the dungeon Kill the Abyss Messenger and get the Heart of the Abyss difficulty level, S-Class. The girl just wanted to say something, but Lin Han beat her to it and said that nothing he would take care of. Unable to contain her emotions, the girl starts shouting that she is strongly advised to give up this task because S-Class tasks are tantamount to a death sentence for support class holders. Not paying any attention to these words, Lin Han with a completely nonchalant face says that everything is fine and he thinks he can handle it. As a result, the girl has nothing left but to stick this assignment to Lin Han. On the huge electronic colony in the center of the upgrade hall, an inscription popped up, Mission Name Abyss Messenger. Mission objective is to kill the Abyss Messenger and obtain the Heart of the Abyss. Difficulty level S-Class. Recipient name Lin Han. Class name Sacrifice. The people in the crowd who were in the building at that moment begin to whisper. Lin Han is saying goodbye to a female employee of the upgrade hall. Behind him, he is distracted by three guys. A man in a dark t-shirt and dark jacket with a bald head suggests Lin Han to join their team as the S-Class will be difficult for him. Next to the man are two other guys, one in a white t-shirt and the other in a red shirt and the same dark jackets. The men smugly wait for Lin Han's answer with evil smirks on their faces. Lin Han nonchalantly walks past them and says that he has to refuse as he prefers to work alone. The men, and clearly not satisfied with this answer, they angrily shout curses in his direction. Then the bald man rushes at Lin Han from behind with his fists, but not a single nerve in Lin Han's face flinches. With a single kick, he flips the man a few meters away from himself. Then he elegantly and unemotionally stands back up, the people around him whispering about how a guy with a support class could be stronger than a man with a warrior class. The two remaining men run up to the bald man to see if he's okay. The bald man can't let himself lose to Lin Han, so one of the other two offers to attack him. The new man only taps the other on the head for the idea, as if they do that all employers will turn their backs on them. Lin Han leaves. The bald guy stares at him angrily with gritted teeth and says that if they don't succeed directly, they will beat him dirty. Tall building with lots of windows. A branch of the Merchant Guild. Lin Han arrives at the Merchants Guild branch. At the entrance, Lin Han is greeted by a girl with a nice smile, wearing a red uniform and long brown hair. With her hand, she shows Lin Han the way and asks him to follow her. They walk to the office numbered 2201. Lin Han and the girl are sitting in a chair at a round small desk. The girl asks what kind of gear Lin Han wants to sell. A mountain of assorted material almost ceiling high appears. There are even a couple swords littered in this mountain. The girl is taken by surprise. Confused, the girl apologizes and says Lin Han will have to wait. She needs to contact their managers for further instructions. A man with black hair, wearing a brown suit and a monocle over his eye, walks in. The man greets Lin Han and says that he is the branch manager of the Huizhou City Merchants Guild. He says that his name is Liu. He is a treasure appraisal master with level 46. Lin Han is attracted by the words. He turns his gaze on him and thinks that knowing that the Merchants Guild is one of the most powerful guilds, he had no idea that the branch offices could operate a treasure appraisal master of 46th level. Liu stands beside the seated Lin Han smiling and says that Lin Han is an amazing person. He has never met someone who can bring so many treasures at once. According to his preliminary estimation, he could get at least 23 million for all the common equipment treasures of this variety. Lin Han puts two swords on the table and asks what Liu has to say about it. Liu says that it will have to wait a little while for him to scrutinize everything. Liu sits down in a chair, takes one of the swords in his hands and recites a spell. A pentagram forms above the sword. Liu smiles with a full mouth and says that he is done evaluating. These two items must be part of some set, but they are unpaired weapons. However, even so, the equipment is of legendary level, and if Lin Han intended to sell it, Liu could offer 140 million. Liu holds out a black card to Lin Han, holding it by the corners with both hands, and says that it is the black card of their trade guild. Whichever branch Lin Han walks into, he will be served to the highest standard with it. Lin Han reaches out to take the card and thanks manager Liu, and says he would like to acquire a couple skills. Liu says he would be happy to help. Lin Han walks down the hallway looking at the spreadsheet. He tells the system to strengthen the skills 10,000 times. The spreadsheet says, Title, Heavenly Eye Type, Skill Book Level, Forbidden Spell Description. Passive skill, warns the wearer of approaching danger. Active skill, grants the foresight of a god. Lin Han says that he can now not worry about a surprise attack. It can now be assumed that he will definitely complete the dungeon clearing task. A brightly colored electronic sign that says, Information inside the dungeon. An old scroll is handed over and says that it has all the information about the dungeon with the messenger of the abyss. Lin Han picks up the scroll. He is disturbed by something. He thinks that the dungeon used to be full of monsters and now there are so many people walking around quietly. He feels blood and thinks that someone wants to harm him but decides to ignore it. He wants to deal with the Abyss Messenger first. Lin Han is standing with a girl from the Merchant Guild with a huge clock above them. Around the corner is the bald guy who attacked Lin Han in the upgrade hall. Lin Han stands at the entrance to the cave where the light is showing and says that if the map is to be believed, this is where the Herald of the Abyss will appear. Lin Han stands at the entrance and scrutinizes the map. A huge clawed paw appears. The toothy monster growls loudly and Lin Han immediately turns his attention to it. Lin Han says how ugly it is that it gives him goosebumps. He wants to greet it first. Lightning begins to flicker around the staff. The lightning strikes straight at the monster. Lin Han thinks the monster is already cooked. The monster rushes to attack Lin Han. Lin Han stands there surprised, not expecting to be hit back. Scared, without blinking an eye, his fist was at his face. Lin Han gritted his teeth angrily. His face is grazed and he says that the monster took away 1,800 HP points in one blow. Even the frog could only take away 800. Someone's voice says that he now realizes that he is just a small fish to the Abyss Herald. Lin Han furiously looks in the direction of the outgoing voice. One of the mercenaries says, raising his sword hand up, that Lin Han is too cocky for someone with a support class, and that Lin Han dared to refuse their invitation and went alone against the Messenger of the Abyss. They followed him for a while and found out that Lin Han had acquired money, and now all his millions were theirs. Lin Han's red eyes start to glisten with anger. He says that the mercenary has atrophied since they know how much Lin Han got for the trophies trying to steal from him. The mercenary stands with his back to the Messenger of the Abyss running at him and tells Lin Han that he doesn't need to make a big deal out of himself. The mercenary swings his sword and the Death Herald falls to pieces. The mercenary says that he is a warrior who has reached the second realm and level 10 yokels like Lin Han. He snaps at once. The mercenary smiles evilly and points his sword at Lin Han, saying that if they kill Lin Han here, no one will know about it. Lin Han calmly lowered his eyelids and smiled intimidatingly lightly and said that he had long wanted to try a forbidden spell, Interfering Fallen. The other two mercenaries with knives in their hands ran at the bald man with red clansmen blocked and shouted, "Kill." The bald mercenary is badly frightened. He asks the two what they are doing. One of the mercenaries strikes but the bald mercenary dodges. He says that if they don't like their share they would just say. The two mercenaries keep yelling the same word, "kill," with angry faces. The bald mercenary swears out of fear and then he says he'll give half of their share. Two mercenaries pounce on the bald mercenary at the same time. He points his speech at them and tells them to stop provoking him. The mercenaries pounce on the bald man. The mad guys sink their teeth into the bald mercenary and bite him bloody. Lin Han asks the bald mercenary if he understands what is going on. The mercenary turns to Lin Han in displeasure. As the bald mercenary is bitten more and more by his comrades, he tells Lin Han that it's all because of him. He paid them. Lin Han stares stonily at the bald mercenary and says that the mercenary is taking a long time to realize that his comrades are now completely under Lin Han's power. The depressed and exhausted mercenary says that this is impossible because Lin Han is only a level 10 support. Lin Han spreads his arms to the sides around him, a lightning bolt of smiling. He says that who told the mercenary that all people with the support class are weak, although it doesn't matter to the mercenary anymore. The place where the mercenary was is opened by a lightning strike. From there the mercenary shouts that who Lin Han is. Lin Han silently walks away with an angry expression on his face. Lin Han walked out of the cave. It's daytime outside. The sun is shining. The entrance to the cave abruptly falls away. Lin Han turns around in bewilderment. With annoyance, he thinks that it is because of his forbidden spell, and that even dungeons collapse so easily under the effect of his magic. The gray building of the Ministry of Magic Control of Huizhou City. A soldier looks at the surveillance video footage excitedly and says that it's happening again. An irritated minister walks into the room and asks what's happening again. The soldier timidly points his finger in the direction of the video footage and stammeringly says that there is a powerful energy wave inside the dungeon. He is afraid it is some kind of forbidden spell and now the dungeon could collapse at any moment. The minister bangs his fist on the table. With an angry look on his face, the minister wonders if the top brass is involved. First the tsunami and now the dungeon. A soldier asks what to do now. The minister threateningly says to call the mayor immediately. The minister reports to the mayor on the phone that there is an emergency. The city's underground may collapse at any moment. For the safety of the people who are there, we must act immediately. The middle-aged male mayor, slim build with a beard, listens to the minister on the phone and tells them to get the rescue squad together now. They have every second to spare. The minister says it won't be an easy job because the students have just recently had an awakening. There are likely a huge number of people inside the dungeon right now. The mayor says that he will ask for help from the top brass so that they can count on them as they did when the city was saved from the tsunami. The minister orders a rescue team to be assembled. The minister shouts for the underground and a squad of fighters rushes out of the building. People panic, the dungeon collapses, cobblestones fall. Lin Han thinks that if someone dies because of him, he will not be able to forgive himself for the rest of his life. Lin Han uses the spell Guardian Angel. His staff begins to glow. Above the staff appears a small copy of Lin Han with angel wings. Guardian Angel Forbidden Skill Level. By chanting the Song of the Goddess of Life, you can save some of your allies who have fallen in battle. Mechanical, elemental creatures and undead cannot be resurrected. Stones continue to fall. People run around them. Magical particles begin to rise. On the ground lies a man, around him hovering magic spells. He is surprised that he is still alive. The minister runs with a squad of soldiers and says that you need to be faster. Every second is someone's life. The soldiers carry a wounded man away on a stretcher, and he says he thought he saw an angel. It was beautiful. The disgruntled minister looks in the direction the injured man was pointing and says that as soon as he finds out what the top brass is up to, he will go public against them. Lin Han cautiously sneaks past the minister, mentally saying that he can't see him and he's invisible. The minister stands with his hand to his chin. He is immersed in his thoughts. He is thinking that if things take this turn he will resign and move to live somewhere else. Upgrade Hall. Lin Han with both hands catches the female employee of the upgrade hall by the hand and with a gentle smile says finally found the mistress and that they should start soon. The confused girl blushes. She says not ready yet. Lin Han smiles, holding the Heart of the Abyss messenger in his hand, and says he just came to upgrade his class and no need for ambiguous phrases. The surprised girl cries out that she can't believe Lin Han gave up her incredible beauty and asks if Lin Han has completed the task of killing the Abyss Herald. Several people turn around at her shriek and are clearly amazed at what they have heard. The people in the crowd begin to discuss how Lin Han was able to defeat the Abyss Herald since he had only recently appeared, while another guy suggests that Lin Han is some kind of master who was raised by a very rich family, or there is no other way to explain it. Lin Han stands surrounded by people scratching the back of his head, smiles a little and says that he was lucky. Other masters came to help and he was just helping. Lin Han thinks about how he didn't want to draw attention to himself. Another guy in the crowd says annoyingly that when will the kind masters come back to him. Encouraged, Lin Han turns to the employee and asks her to hurry up because he can't wait for the promotion. The employee says that Lin Han can go up 2 kingdoms. Lin Han victoriously clenches his fist with a confident and proud expression and says that he is sure that the difference between the first and second realm is like heaven and earth. Gives an order to the system to magnify everything 10,000 times. The screen reads, Praying Light, a forbidden light spell that creates a field of light where the caster's allies take 50% less damage, and the caster takes 80% less damage. Forbidden Night is a forbidden spell of darkness that creates a field of darkness where the caster's allies become invisible and can hide the presence of the caster's allies and the wielder. A purple magic forms around Lin Han and he looks at it with admiration and says that it is the perfect spell for defense and retreat, and next time he will try to take a more serious assignment. Lin Han walks out of the building. There are people running around outside in a panic. In a panic, Lin Han asks a guy in a cap running what all the commotion is going on. The guy in the cap says that Minister Sun, who believes that some incredibly powerful creature has appeared near the city, causing the disasters of the past few days. A stunned Lin Han thinks about the fact that he just ascended to the second realm and the minister has already started looking for some higher being. And who would have thought that this being is actually just a second realm mage? On the live broadcast, the minister says that starting today, the dungeon will be closed due to recent events. For safety reasons, it is now forbidden to leave the city. Lin Han grabs his head, opens his eyes wide and says how can he mine new materials now? Lin Han walks into the Merchant Guild branch and thinks that if he can't leave the city, he won't be able to get any materials or equipment. Perhaps manager Liu can help him somehow. Lin Han stands and is greeted by the guild officer and Liu. Liu invites Lin Han with his hand and says that he didn't expect to see Lin Han so soon. The girl sets down a cup of coffee and asks Lin Han to help himself. Lin Han sits in the chair drinking coffee. The girl hands Lin Han a book. Liu sits in the chair opposite Lin Han and says it's a list of their products. Lin Han can choose what he wants and they will give him a 10% discount on everything. Lin Han closes the book and says, smiling contentedly, that he wants to buy all 20 magic scrolls on the list. Lin Han puts the book on the table, bends closer and says he would like to ask Liu about something. Liu says Lin Han doesn't have to worry, they have reliable information. Lin Han sighs and says he would like to know about the sources of natural disasters. Liu smiles nervously. Lin Han asks with a serious face that if it is secret information. Liu pulls on a smile and says that it's just that there is very little information and it's expensive. Lin Han sits in the chair, whether a foot on the chair, with his index finger up, and with a confident smile asks how about one epic level item. Liu brightens with happiness, smiles widely, and says that there will soon be an auction in the city where one of the items will be information about the sources of natural disasters. Lin Han thinks about the fact that he will have to wait a little while and then it's time to get busy improving his equipment. Lin Han covers one eye, brings his hand to his face, and says that Liu has of course always been kind to him. But this information isn't worth an epic outfit, because soon everyone will know about it. Liu smiles and spreads his hands and says he can't let a valued client go with nothing. The female employee puts on the table attaches a white cloth covered with a white cloth. Lin Han opens his mouth looking surprised at the item. Liu takes hold of the edge of the cloth. Lin Han covers his eyes with his hands and talks about how dazzling the light is. On the table is a glowing rounded shaped object with a ball in the center. Liu says that this is the entrance to the silver replica of the legendary portal of the Holy Land. As long as Lin Han has this rare item, he can take one person with him and raise his level with no problem. Lin Han holds the entrance to the silver copy in his hand and carefully looks at it. He thinks about how Mr. Liu is really amazing. Silver copies are incredibly rare items. You can't even buy one for a lot of money everywhere. Liu claps his hands in happiness and asks if Lin Han is satisfied. Lin Han winks and gives a thumbs up. He says he is very pleased and now he has realized how great Liu's generosity is. The employee and Liu walk Lin Han to the door. The employee and Liu bow goodbye. Lin Han waves goodbye. The staff member tells Liu that these silver copies are too rare to trade for epic level items and whether he will be at a disadvantage because of this deal. Liu looks after Lin Han and says that Lin Han's aura has changed noticeably since the last time they met, and he was looking for information on the sources of natural disasters. Perhaps soon they will see the first person with a second realm altar class with their own eyes. Lin Han stands with his arms crossed on his chest. He is thinking about the fact that the silver replica portal can hold another person and who he should take with him. A phone rings in his pocket. Lin Han holds the phone in his hand. Wang Qiang is calling him. Lin Han thinks that he has found a candidate. Lin Han puts the phone to his ear. Lin Han says that this call is not expected as such a busy man has time to call him. Wang Qiang covers one eye. He eats food with a stick and says that he wanted to help Lin Han with the pumping. But suddenly the city was closed and now he is eating delicious meat and drinking. Lin Han says that everything is in order and he has gained entrance to the silver copy of the Holy Land portal. Wang Qiang pours beer. Lin Han stands stone-faced. A couple of people passing by look in his direction. Wang Qiang shouts into the phone that if Lin Han has been taken under the wing of some rich family, how can he have such a treasure? Lin Han tells Wang Qiang to stop nonsense and say whether he agrees or not. Wang Qiang says of course he agrees and asks when. Lin Han says tomorrow at 9 AM at the entrance to the silver replica portal, and if Wang Qiang doesn't come, Lin Han won't wait for him. Wang Qiang capriciously says that so early is not fair. The silver copy of the portal. A column of people are walking straight ahead, with Wang Qiang standing off to the side in white pants and a black jacket. Wang Qiang calls out to Lin Han, saying that Wang Qiang got overexcited and came so early after hearing about the silver copy of the portal. Wang Qiang smiles wryly and says that he just wanted to look at that rich woman who had Lin Han in her arms, but for some reason he doesn't see anyone around him, and that it was a waste to get up so early in the morning. Lin Han looks irritated at Wang Qiang. Lin Han hangs Wang Qiang around his neck, smiles, and says that if he wanted to die he could just say so. A crowd of men approaches. One of the crowd is surprised at who he sees. Lin Han turns around. A man with black hair and a purple shirt spreads his arms and says with a wide but arrogant smile, "Is this the number one of the school?" Another man with red hair and blue jeans, a white t-shirt and an orange sweatshirt points his finger at Lin Han and says, "This is ridiculous. Why would Lin Han think that he, a pauper, would be able to afford a silver copy of the portal?" Wang Qiang deserves a sleeve and starts to move towards the men. Lin Han holds his shoulder. The man in the purple shirt tells Wang Qiang to take a bottle of alcohol with him so that they, if they find his dead body, can drink to his repose, and starts laughing. Lin Han stands in front of Wang Qiang and blocks his way with his hand. Wang Qiang tells Lin Han to let him go. He wants to fight these insolents. Lin Han firmly says stop wasting time on the losers. They will figure it out when Lin Han and Wang Qiang go through the portal. A man in a purple shirt points a sword at Lin Han and tells him to watch his mouth. They are warriors of the second realm. Lin Han asks that does he really need to watch his tongue just because they have gotten a little stronger. Gritting his teeth in anger, the man in the purple shirt interjects what Lin Han said. Lin Han shifts his gaze and asks what he decided to finally show himself and how long he was going to watch from the shadows. Gao Chun appears. Gao Chun is standing with the other men. Lin Han asks Gao Chun why he has been hiding. Gao Chun adjusts his jacket and smiling evilly says that he just decided to watch Lin Han and Wang Qiang's ridiculous provocations. Gao Chun spreads his hands apart and says that he came out because he could no longer hold back his laughter as a support class who will never be able to raise his level tries to snap at him. Gao Chun tells Wang Qiang that he strongly recommends him to look for another team since with Lin Han he will not last long on the other side. Wang Qiang angrily shouts for Lin Han to let him go. Wang Qiang says that he will beat him out. Lin Han turns to Wang Qiang and says that he will deal with him himself. A man with scarlet hair rushes at Lin Han with a sword and with words that Lin Han doesn't put them in anything at all. Lin Han uses magic to control the sword and wrestles the weapon away from the red-haired man. The man freezes in place caught off guard. Lin Han takes the man by the collar. Lin Han throws the man into the crowd of his allies, causing them all to fall apart. The man with scarlet hair lies on the ground, his mouth bleeding and his face in pain. The man with red hair says that Lin Han's body is not too strong for a cheerleading class, and the man in the purple shirt stands next to him and says that he could not believe that a cheerleading class could have such a strong body. Lin Han lures Lin Han with his fist, and tells Gao Chun that now it's his turn. Gao Chun tells Lin Han to stay away from him, tags with ropes to a rock and says he admits he made a mistake and asks him to let him go. Lin Han and Wang Qiang laugh at Gao Chun. Wang Qiang says that he thinks Gao Chun is lying and that he should hang back and think about his behavior. Gao Chun wrinkles his nose in humiliation and thinks that one day he will definitely take revenge on Lin Han and Wang Qiang for this. Other people casually passing by say that Gao Chun is just a lowlife. He lost to a support mage being a warrior. Another person says that he doesn't envy Gao Chun's parents. He is just a disgrace. Lin Han and Wang Qiang are walking on the sand. A portal is open behind them. Skeletons of slain monsters are lying on the ground. Wang Qiang says that the ancient battlefield doesn't look that impressive. Lin Han cautiously tells Wang Qiang that the local monsters are very different from what Wang Qiang has seen in rookie dungeons, so he does not relax. A hand from underground grabbed Wang Qiang's leg. He yells that they have already been found. Wang Qiang stands up proudly in front of Lin Han. He starts to use his magic. Near him, magic cards appear. Wang Qiang tells Lin Han not to worry. His class is master cards. These monsters can't even get close to him, so let Lin Han stand behind him. Wang Qiang smiles madly. Explosions form behind him. Wang Qiang says that this is his card master power. Lin Han is holding a monster corpse in his hand, and behind him is a mountain of similar monsters. Lin Han says that Wang Qiang's strength looks effective, but he was faster. A surprised Wang Qiang pokes Lin Han with his finger and says that it's not okay that Lin Han dealt with them with his bare hands and that Lin Han just fooled everyone and he actually has a warrior class. Lin Han says that he was just born with some divine ability and if he wasn't afraid of being noticed by the authorities, he would have just cleared everything with a forbidden spell. Wang Qiang squints his eyes and looks at Lin Han. Wang Qiang sighs disappointedly and says that he suddenly felt useless. Considering Lin Han's strength, he could really wipe the place out if he got his hands on some hammer. Lin Han puts his hand on Wang Qiang's shoulder encouragingly and tells him not to be discouraged. They have just started. Let Wang Qiang take the ones in front and Lin Han the ones behind. Wang Qiang cheerfully says for Lin Han to rely on him. Wang Qiang closes his eyes, spreads his hands apart and starts reciting the incantation. Magic and magic cards begin to appear around him. The monsters are being burned out by the magic. Lin Han stands there with a strange expression on his face. Wang Qiang says that the level up is going well so far. Lin Han grabs Wang Qiang by the scruff of the neck and pulls him aside. Wang Qiang says that he is not a thing and can do it himself. At the spot where Lin Han and Wang Qiang were standing, a huge axe stabs into the ground. A giant bull monster roars holding a huge axe in its hand. Wang Qiang says that Lin Han has found the hidden boss. Lin Han covers Wang Qiang with himself and tells him to be careful. The hidden boss is a dangerous opponent. Wang Qiang tells Lin Han not to worry, they can handle him. He will wear him down with his long-range spells. Lin Han rushes at the boss. Wang Qiang tells Lin Han to wait. The secret boss strikes with his axe. Lin Han stops his strike with his staff. Lin Han looks at Wang Qiang and yells for him to attack him. Boss stands up on his hind legs right in front of him. Lin Han stands up. Wang Qiang shouts to Lin Han that the monster is on its last breath. It will probably throw something out because of this. A fountain of blood flows from the boss' mouth. With his paw, the boss counts the nearby villages. Lin Han leaps at the boss, raising his staff above his head, shouting for the monster not to underestimate the support class. Lin Han strikes the monster in the face with his staff with a stream of electricity flowing from it. The monster spits blood and falls unconscious. Lin Han walks proudly with the staff in his hands. The astonished Wang Qiang thinks, looking at Lin Han, that a guy with a support class fought one-on-one with a hidden boss and defeated him without magic. He must be crazy, though why wonder? It's Han's brother. On the other side of the portal, the electronic scoreboard says, Silver Copy, Ancient Battlefield. Number of participants, 2. Team members, Lin Han, Wang Qiang. Passage, 100% hidden boss Lord of the Minotaurs, 100% complete. Completion time, 16 minutes and 28 seconds. Gao Chun stares at the scoreboard in amazement and thinks about how it is possible to pass so quickly. No one has ever passed the hidden boss so quickly. Lin Han and Wang Qiang are walking in the crowd of people. Lin Han says with wide eyes that there are so many people for the entrance exam. Wang Qiang says that almost all the great masters have studied in this academy. Behind Lin Han and Wang Qiang stands Gao Chun and says that he is surprised that they are here too. With a cheeky smile, Gao Chun says that Lin Han will not be able to use his tricks this time, so everyone will see how insignificant he is. Lin Han and Wang Qiang smile. Wang Qiang says, asking if Gao Chun liked hanging on the pole. Angry Gao Chun pokes his finger and says that last time he was just careless, but now it's different. He has already reached the second realm of the thief class, and to make Lin Han and Wang Qiang remember his words, they will still beg to be spared. Wang Qiang looks at the smiling Lin Han and thinks that even though he himself can't handle a second realm warrior, Lin Han will just smash him. A girl with a short haircut, now wearing a mini skirt and a dark jacket, uses magic to strike the bell. Lin Han and Wang Qiang look in the direction of the bell. The girl walks on the concrete stage and says that those gathered today will have to show the academy their full potential. You can use anything except forbidden drugs that increase your strength for a short time. You can do anything to defeat your opponent. The exam has begun. Lin Han cheerfully puts his hand on Wang Qiang's shoulder and tells him to give his best, and even if he loses, to do so with dignity. Wang Qiang playfully puts her hand on his chest and tells Lin Han not to worry. He will not let him down. The girl says into the microphone that the first duel will be between Gao Chun and Lin Han. Have the candidates step onto the platform. Lin Han and Gao Chun went up to the platform on opposite sides, with the girl standing between them. Gao Chun points his finger at Lin Han and shouts that Lin Han has violated the ban on the use of strength-enhancing drugs. The girl looks menacingly at Gao Chun and tells him to stop talking nonsense, that she can smell it a mile away, and if he doesn't want to fight, then let him get off the platform. Gao Chun puts his palm forward and asks him to wait. Gao Chun points at Lin Han and tells him to just admit that he cheated. The support class would never be able to beat the ancient battlefield dungeon record. Lin Han sternly looks at Gao Chun and asks him to directly say what he is trying to accomplish. Gao Chun says with a sinister grin that it's simple. He wants to make a bet. If Lin Han loses, he will confirm that he used drugs and refused to join the academy for another 5 years. Lin Han looks menacingly at Gao Chun and says that Gao Chun has clung to him so many times, and because Lin Han's patience is not infinite, he agrees. Disappearing into thin air, Gao Chun says that Lin Han can't even imagine how much stronger Gao Chun has become after reaching the second realm. The people in the crowd cheer and shout. One guy says that it's unbelievable he can't even keep track of Gao Chun. It's not fair to fight with someone like that. Gao Chun moves from one part of the platform to another and says Lin Han is strong, but what good is his strength if he can't catch him? Lin Han looks questioningly at Gao Chun with one eyebrow raised up. Lin Han says he could activate a skill that allows him to see invisible creatures, but he can see all of Gao Chun's movements. Gao Chun goes on the attack and says that now Lin Han will pay for tricking everyone. Gao Chun lunges, but Lin Han deflects to the side. Gao Chun thinks about how Lin Han managed to dodge. Was he lucky again? Lin Han does not take his eyes off Gao Chun's blade and dodges again, the blade flying over him. Gao Chun lunges again with a shout. Lin Han dodges. The people in the crowd are shouting about how fast they are moving. They only have time to see silhouettes. Another guy in the crowd shouts that Lin Han is not inferior to Gao Chun in speed. Are they both second realm? A man with a russet beard and mustache sits among the crowd. The man with the beard says that Lin Han has a strong body, incredible reactions, but the sacrificial class ruins everything. He leans on his feet and tries to catch his breath. He asks Lin Han how this is possible. why Gao Chun can't hit him. Shrugging his shoulders and spreading his arms to the side, Lin Han says that although Gao Chun thinks he is very fast, but in his eyes he is still a slow turtle. Wang Qiang shouts out from the crowd, asking Gao Chun where his arrogant mockery is, not even used to seeing him so depressed. Gao Chun turns to the judge and pointing his finger at Lin Han, asks her to check it out. He is sure that Lin Han has taken performance-enhancing drugs. The angry referee says that she has said everything, that she was never in violation of the rules, and if Gao Chun is already cooked he can get off the platform. Gao Chun jumps up with the words that he will never lose to such a loser. Gao Chun puts his dagger hand forward and holds it with his other hand. He says Lin Han is finished. Lin Han holds up a fist with magical energy accumulating in it. Lin Han is about to strike. The girl puts out her hand, gesturing for him to stop. Lin Han silently unclenches his fist, landing on the platform. A disgruntled Gao Chun says he would have won if he had completed his move and asks the judge why she stopped him. The referee looks at Gao Chun intimidatingly and says that if she hadn't stopped the fight, Gao Chun would be dead, and if Gao Chun doesn't like something she can restart it. Gao Chun falls to his knees, announces that Lin Han is the winner. Gao Chun grits his teeth and lashes out at Lin Han, saying he will never admit it. Lin Han punches Gao Chun on the back of his head with such force that he slams into the platform. Clenching his fist, Lin Han yells at Gao Chun and says that Gao Chun was saved from death. But he's at it again, not learning anything from life. The delighted judge asks if Lin Han really has a cheer class, because he has such amazing strength. Lin Han proudly replies that yes, he is. Lin Han taps Gao Chun on the head with his naked head and tells him to stop pretending. Lin Han didn't hit him hard enough to render him unconscious. The doctors carry Gao Chun away for violence. Gao Chun shouts out that he will definitely avenge Lin Han for this. Wang Qiang claps Lin Han on the shoulder and says that he did well and didn't dishonor his big brother. Lin Han catches Wang Qiang and asks what he said there about senior. Wang Qiang laughingly apologizes. The judge announces for Wang Qiang, Zhang Ziwen, Zhu Jiamei, and Liu Yunyan to go to the platform. If someone does not go, they will automatically be considered the loser. Lin Han said that he thought that all the fights would be one-on-one, so that Wang Qiang would not let himself be set in close combat. Wang Qiang smiles confidently and gives a thumbs up and says that Lin Han should watch him scatter all of them. On the platform stands Wang Qiang, a girl with pink short hair, a girl with glasses, and black long hair braided into 2 braids, and a man with black shaved hair on the back of his head. Around Wang Qiang flying his magic cards. He tells them all to put their best foot forward. The man with the shaved back of his head tells the girls that he didn't know there would be a level 10 master here. Why don't they get rid of the strongest among them first? Then decide among themselves. The girl with pink hair and sky blue eyes puts her hand on her heart and says that she is a healer with a support class. So as long as she can show her skills, she doesn't care which side she takes. The man with the shaved back of his head has a thought. He attacks the girl with pink hair and says that it's a good idea to get rid of such a variable for starters. After pulling the pink-haired girl out of her body, he turns to the girl with glasses and says that now she will not be able to side with Wang Qiang, and asks if Zhu Jiamei will team up with him. Zhu Jiamei said she would. With a murderous smile, the guy with the shaved back of his head said to completely get rid of the girl with pink hair. A Wang Qiang magic card flew into the guy with the shaved back of his head. The pink-haired girl, sitting on her knees and holding her stomach. The girl with glasses and the guy with the shaved back of her head are standing in front of her. The guy with the shaved back of his head asks Wang Qiang why he is bothering him. This is a battle of all against all. Wang Qiang stands with a centered face, his magic cards melting around him. Wang Qiang says that he is not so mean as to instantly abandon a person just because he did not want to take his side. The guy with the shaved back of his head rushes to attack Wang Qiang, saying that he will start with him then. A confident Wang Qiang asks the guy with the shaved back of his head that he thinks he can defeat Wang Qiang. Zhu Jiamei puts her hand out in front of her and magic is emitted from there. She says that she has the hypnotizer class and will now put Wang Qiang to sleep. Wang Qiang has black eyes and wonders why he is suddenly tired. The guy with the shaved back of his head swings his steel claws and says that close combat is the weakness of a card master, and for him, assassin is the perfect environment. Frightened, Wang Qiang leans back, wide-eyed with sleep, but the steel claw strike is stopped by one of Wang Qiang's magic cards. A dazed guy with a shaved back of his head asks what happened. Holding his wounded arm, Wang Qiang can barely stand on his feet. He says the guy with the shaved back of his head doesn't know much about the Master Card class. These cards can not only attack but also defend. The man with a light beard and says that Wang Qiang is a talented youngster. He managed to cover his hand with a card and then did not hesitate to counterattack. Next to him is a gray-haired old man with a long beard. He said that if Wang Qiang starts practicing in their academy, he will definitely grow up to be a strong master. This year many talented youngsters have arrived. Wang Qiang is standing holding onto the rock. Around him his magic cards are melting and a pillar of magic is flowing out. He says that he will now show the true power of the Master Card class. He will activate the magic of earth, water, fire, wind, light. Zhu Jiame asks the god of hypnosis to lend her his powers. She folds her palms in prayer. Everything is ablaze on the platform. Zhu Jiame stands behind Zhang Ziwen and says that Wang Qiang is not a hindrance to them now because he won't be able to concentrate and hit them. Zhang Ziwen holds his claws on his head and says that Wang Qiang's techniques are useless if he can't hit the target. Wang Qiang closes his eyes and says that if he is fooled by his own eyes, he will just stop using them and start firing at the entire platform. An explosion hits Zhu Jiame and she flies out. Wang Qiang looks at Zhang Ziwen and says that he is all alone. Zhang Ziwen jumps on Wang Qiang and says that Wang Qiang must have used up all of his mana, and he is curious to see how long it lasts. Zhang Ziwen strikes but Wang Qiang blocks it with a shield of magic cards. Zhang Ziwen asks how this is possible and how much more strength Wang Qiang has. The pink-haired girl Liu Yunyan says that Zhang Ziwen has forgotten all about her. She closes her eyes, folds her hands in prayer, and asks for strength from the goddess of spring. Red threads appear from her palm. The red thread envelops Wang Qiang, heals him. Zhang Ziwen is surprised at what is happening. Wang Qiang tells Zhang Ziwen that he has already lost. There is no way he can stand against the 5-card formation. There is an explosion on the platform. Zhang Ziwen is all burned up lying on the floor of the platform. The referee raises Wang Qiang's hand and declares him the winner. Lin Han hugs Wang Qiang and says that Wang Qiang impressed him. Liu Yunyan walks up to Lin Han and Wang Qiang and says that she is very grateful to Wang Qiang for helping, and that she wanted to warn him that he might get hurt after a while. Wang Qiang smiles and says it's okay. Wang Qiang is writhing in pain. Wang Qiang is lying on the floor with Lin Han and Liu Yunyan sitting next to him. Liu Yunyan says that her silk thread absorbs all the damage, but after a while it comes back in doubled form. But now she will heal him. Lin Han bends closer to Wang Qiang and says with a playful smile that he thought Wang Qiang came here because of exams. But it turns out he came here looking for love. Wang Qiang says that he has already suffered enough, so there is no need to bully him. Liu Yunyan sits and holds Wang Qiang. Lin Han walks away and tells Liu Yunyan to take care of his brother. Wang Qiang tries to get up and tells Lin Han to stop talking nonsense. An hour later on the platform stands Lin Han and 3 other people, one girl with long red hair, orange austere pants, and 2 guys, one in a blue sleeveless shirt with blue hair, and the other in a purple hoodie and a colored mask. Round 2 begins. Lin Han, Du Lai, Zhang Sanking, Hu Sheng are on the platform. The guy in the blue sleeveless sweatshirt and blue hair says that they realize Lin Han is very strong, so let him not be offended that they decided to team up against him like this. Lin Han smiles and says they should attack together. The 3 of them say that they will start and stand around Lin Han. The girl from Magic gets a bow and arrow and asks the goddess of arrows to give her strength. Lin Han gets a blush. He looks at the girl with admiration and says she has a very rare archer class. He doesn't want to upset her, but he can dodge all her arrows. The girl releases an arrow and says she will watch Lin Han dodge it. A huge number of arrows fly at Lin Han. Lin Han puts his hand to his chin and thinks that although there are a lot of arrows, but they are still too slow for him, he can easily dodge them. Lin Han notices that he can't move. The guy in the blue sleeveless shirt uses his abilities. Lin Han is enveloped in blue threads. He says that unfortunately for Lin Han, he is the master of shackles, so he can't escape her attack. There is an explosion of magic around Lin Han. All 3 of them look at Lin Han and think that although he is strong, even he can't come out in one piece after a direct hit. Lin Han's head appears out of the smoke and he says that the guys did a good job. Lin Han comes out of the smoke and shakes off the blue threads. The shocked guy in the blue sleeveless shirt says that the order of how Lin Han got free from his acts with brute force. Lin Han looks at the trio and pulls the thread and says that although it looks impressive, it's not that strong, but the arrows are quite powerful and even hurt a little. The 3 of them are shocked and speechless at the fact that the arrows hit Lin Han and what kind of monster he is. Lin Han jumps up and yells that it's his turn. Lin Han's face slams into an invisible barrier. Lin Han finds himself in a club made of magic. The guy in the purple sweatshirt and mask says that his class, Draftsman, allows him to create formations on the ground that lock opponents inside the barrier. However, his allies will be able to attack you, so he turns to his allies and tells them not to stand around and fire everything they have. The guy in the blue sleeveless shirt gets a whip of blue mana. The girl concentrates all her strength into a single arrow. Lin Han angrily pummels the barrier with his fist. The guy in the hoodie tells Lin Han to wonder but then sees shocking. Cracks appeared where Lin Han hit with his fist. Lin Han smirked and said that it didn't work from the first punch. He will have to punch a couple more times. Lin Han starts throwing a lot of punches with great speed. The barrier shatters into a bunch of small pieces. Lin Han smiles and says it's finally his turn. The girl says not yet and fires a killer arrow, and the guy in the blue sleeveless shirt uses his strongest whip snake kick yet. Lin Han says that won't stop him and stops each of the attacks simultaneously with one hand. The crowd cheers that Lin Han has defeated 3 opponents with 1 physical strength. Many girls shout out their numbers for Lin Han, write them on signs and raise them above their heads. Lin Han props his head up and smilingly says that the guys are good. They are incredibly lucky that such rare classes as Inscription, Archer and Shackle Master have come together. For a moment he even thought he might lose. The Archer says that her arrows didn't even scratch Lin Han's skin. The Shackle Master says that they didn't see Lin Han's skills in a thick way. It's a complete failure. The Draftsman says Lin Han is a real monster. Lin Han says don't insult a man just because they can't beat him, and besides the fight isn't over yet. The whole trio raise their hands and say that they surrender. The trio of opponents run away, and Lin Han is going to go and watch Wang Qiang fight. Wang Qiang is lying on a stretcher writhing in pain. Liu Yunian sits next to Wang Qiang and heals him with his magic. Lin Han comes in and says that he has already finished the fight, and noticing that these are new wounds asks how the fight went. Wang Qiang gets up and sits down holding his chest and says that it's not even a fight. He was put up against some monster. He didn't even notice how that shadow got close to him, and in a moment he was already lying on the ground. Luckily, Yunian came to the rescue. Lin Han grabs Wang Qiang by the shoulder and talks about how their relationship is developing rapidly. Wang Qiang blushed. He shakes off Lin Han's hand and says, "Don't change the subject. This Yuan Zai is a very creepy guy. He's not even close to the other examiners." Lin Han puts his hand on his heart and says that he has memorized the name and will definitely avenge Wang Qiang. The 3 guys fly off in different directions. The referee declares Lin Han the winner of the 3rd fight. Lin Han raises his fist up beside him. A man sticks his head into the platforms. Lin Han becomes the winner of the 4th fight and enters the finals. Lin Han stands on the platform with his chin up and a shadow stands in front of him. The shadow snidely tells Lin Han that there are really no worthy masters left in Huizhou, since some sacrificial altar has entered the final exam. Lin Han looks at the shadow and says that he doesn't like his tone and seems to be from Huizhou City. The 4 directions diverge from the shadow. He says he will see what the altar can do and for them to find out who is the strongest among the newcomers here. Lin Han stands alert. The shadow grows to a huge size and asks the god of assassinations to bestow him with power. Squinting, Lin Han says that Yuan Zai is trying to ring him with this black mist to gain an advantage. But Lin Han has a very keen perception and it has nothing to do with visibility. A hand appears from the shadows and sticks a sword into the platform. Lin Han bounces to the side. Lin Han thinks about how fast this happened. He sensed the danger at the very last moment. A shadow circles around Lin Han and a voice says that Lin Han has a good reaction time, but his attacks will only accelerate. Lin Han says that he is beginning to understand. Lin Han lands a powerful blow on the shadow. The circle breaks, and a question comes from the shadow as Lin Han guesses. Lin Han smiles broadly, spreads his hands and says it's very simple. During his first attack, Yuan Zai only showed one hand, so Lin Han assumed that he was just running around inside that black mist and waiting for the moment to attack from the back, and he was right. The shadow takes the shape of a man, with a red mouth and eyes. The shadow tells Lin Han that Lin Han was able to analyze his skill. Having only faced him once, his talent in the field of combat is indeed impressive. However, it's not enough to defeat Yuan Zai. Lin Han says whether Yuan Zai can withstand another strike from him. The shadow begins to split in 2 and says that no matter how strong Lin Han's body is, he is only a sacrificial altar. Perhaps his talent would help him defeat Yuan Zai. However, can he handle 2 at once? Both shadows simultaneously rush to attack Lin Han. Lin Han jumps and dodges the sharp swords and says he can feel them both breathing. One of the shadows says now and see how strong Lin Han's body is. He swings his blade and says there is no stopping him. The blade touches Lin Han's shoulder and hurts him to the point of blood. Lin Han frowns his eyebrows and says to Yuan Zai what makes him think he can win with quantity. Lin Han grabs both shadows. Lin Han holds both shadows by the wrist. The shadows are surprised at how Lin Han was able to keep track of their movements considering he is just a sacrifice. Lin Han says that although Yuan Zai's ability to split up is quite interesting, but the difference between them is too huge. He can't win. Lin Han unwinds the shadows. They scream and ask him to stop. Both shadows lie imprinted into the platform. Lin Han walks away and over his shoulder tells the shadows to watch their language next time or he won't get off so easily. The referee raises Lin Han's hand and says he has won another victory and is the undisputed champion. Lin Han stands there shining with happiness. A man in a business suit comes out with a suitcase in his hands and says that Lin Han has become the strongest rookie of Huizhou City and here is his small award. Lin Han glistens with happiness, pulls out a black envelope from a drawer. The man says that they are giving Lin Han a villa. Next time it will be skill books or other bonuses. From now on, he will only need to work hard to become a strong master, and the government will do their best to support him along the way. Some of the other students say that he will never earn such a thing. Another says that he will have to work hard to earn the bonuses too. And a girl says that if she gets close to Lin Han, she can live in a villa. A man in a suit comes up to the platform and says that the Huizhou City exam is officially closed, and that the examiners will now be talked to by teachers from different academies. A girl with long black hair wearing a black and red dress, Yun Si from Yanyan Academy. A blue-eyed guy with blue hair wearing a black shirt and blue jacket, Lai Chang from Shenmen Academy. A blue-eyed guy with blue hair wearing a white shirt and blue jacket, Wang Licheng from Lian Academy. A bald stunted old man, San Xian from Jian Academy. A massive man with medium-length black hair, black beard and mustache, Q Fengyun from Keoki Academy. Wang Qiang runs up to Lin Han and says that he has been invited to Jian Academy. Lin Han removes Wang Qiang's hand and says with a dejected expression that Wang Qiang is one of the top 8, so he is lucky that Jian Academy invited him. But as for Lin Han, no one invited him. Wang Qiang yells that it's not fair. This is not how things are done and he's going to talk to them now. Lin Han catches Wang Qiang by the scruff of the neck and covers his face with his hand and says that they were basically saying that Lin Han is on the wrong path, that he needs to improve his skills and not just train his body. They said that he needs to train hard and try to pass the exam next year. Wang Qiang snidely mocks Lin Han. He says that in some ways they are right. For the cheerleading class, his skills are not the same. Lin Han taps Wang Qiang on the head and tells him not to say what he doesn't know. With his head cocked, Lin Han says he doesn't need any academy. Besides, he already got his reward. Let's go home. Forest. In the forest stands the minister accompanied by 2 soldiers and some mage of venerable age. The minister says that Mr. Zai Lin Tian has finally returned and says that he has inspected the scene. But the movements of each of them are carefully monitored, so where did this mysterious power come from? At Lin Han's house, the lights are on in all the windows. Lin Han angrily sits at the table and eats while looking at his phone. The TV news is on. The news anchor says that yesterday, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the head of the Imperial Capital Patrol, Zai Linshan, arrived. Lin Han choked up. Lin Han's mom looks at him excitedly holding the teapot in her hand. She tells Lin Han to eat slower. When he showed up yesterday saying he won a new villa, she thought Lin Han had grown up, but now she sees the little restless child again. Lin Han's phone rings. He wonders why this old man needs it. Lin Han picks up the phone and greets Liu and asks how he can help. Liu has a glass of wine in his hand, and with a playful smile says they have new information about natural disasters. Lin Han says he's glad to hear the good news and doesn't know if Liu knows where it will be. Liu tells Lin Han not to worry because he knows his job. Liu says the disaster will be in the form of an earthquake and will occur in a place called Yanyan. Lin Han firmly tells Liu to send him the exact address and he will go there immediately. Liu looks pleased and says that the disaster is no joke and Lin Han will need some equipment to survive there. Of course they have everything and so Lin Han doesn't have to worry. All their prices are fair. Lin Han says his gear is quite satisfactory to Lin Han. Once he comes back, will betray all the materials he got that he will get inside the disaster to Liu. Liu bows slightly and says he will personally make sure Lin Han is satisfied. Lin Han's items are always of the highest quality. Last time their department made a fortune on the treasures Lin Han brought them. Lin Han says he is happy to hear Liu is a master of his craft, so Lin Han is not worried. Lin Han looks out the window, smiles, and thinks about how the source of the disaster must be his. Liu with a visible blush finishes his glass of wine. Liu says that Lin Han reeks of unpredictability. The phone rings. It says, Boss Tian. Liu picks up the phone. He asks if the test site's tester is out of commission. A fierce man in a blue striped shirt and brown jacket, blushing angrily. He says that unlike Liu's auctioneer, he's not bankrupt yet, blooming and smelling, and then goes to the body and asks if he gave Lin Han a pass to the silver copy. Liu says that's right and what's wrong with him putting in a promising talent. Boss Tian says that's nonsense. Lin Han may have some potential, but it's clearly not enough to give him an expensive pass. Liu struggles his head and already without a smile says that he has nothing to answer Boss Tian, but he hopes that the boss will not bore Mr. Lin. Liu has been around this business for years and he can sense that Mr. Lin's potential is beyond their imagination. Tian boss says that the online will end there. Boss Tian turns off the phone and says that Liu's intuition has made them profitable many times. The path that goes through the Diamond Village. The phone has geolocation turned on. Lin Han looks at the Diamond Forest and says that it lives up to its name. On sunny days the Diamond Forest shines like a diamond. Lin Han's attention is drawn to the screams coming from the forest, a voice shouting what is wrong with that thing and why the attacks are not working. A young girl with long purple hair and purple eyes is running and crying from the huge monster running after her. The girl apologizes and says she didn't mean to bother the monster. The girl yells to Lin Han to run instead of standing. It's a silver-ranked boss. Lin Han says, what kind of vision do you have to meet a silver-ranked boss in the Diamond Forest? The girl yells for Lin Han to run, but seeing him standing still she thinks he is frozen in terror. The girl makes faces at the monster and tells the reptile to run after her. The boss growls angrily. The girl rushes off with all her legs. Lin Han looks at her and thinks that this girl is very kind. The Diamond Forest boss is chasing her and she still worries about others and tries to distract the monster. The boss opens his mouth and launches his tongue after the girl. The tongue flies straight at the girl. Out of fright she closes her eyes. Opening her eyes, the girl is very surprised. In front of the girl stands Lin Han, who caught the tongue with his hands, and says that she was a little mistaken. This is a gold rank boss and that the girl will now repay him for saving her. The monster stands up on its hind legs and starts to emit its energy. Lin Han punches the monster in the stomach with his fist with force. The monster flies back a few meters. The girl looks on admiringly and says that it is incredible. He water strike took out a gold-ranked flame lizard and suggests to form a team. Lin Han scratches his head and says that he doesn't even know her. Lin Han thinks that besides he is heading for a natural disaster, so he doesn't need unnecessary trouble. The girl throws her hand up and says her name is Du. Her class is Mage of 1,000 Changes. Lin Han thinks about the fact that she gave away everything about herself, and yet she was trying to save his life, and nothing will happen if he just leads her to the exit of the forest. Lin Han puts her finger to her chin thoughtfully and says that Du has a rather rare class and it's incredible. She embarrassedly says it's nothing special and asks what Lin Han's name is. Lin Han stutters confusedly. He thinks he can't say his real name because there's a natural disaster about to happen here, and he's going to appropriate the source of it. After pondering, Lin Han says his name is Wang Qiang. He is from Yaguang City. The girl with burning eyes says that Wang Qiang is incredibly strong. He was able to kill a gold-ranked boss with a single blow. She suggests him to take a walk sometime when he returns to Yaguang City. Lin Han looks at Du with a bit of annoyance and thinks that she is very chatty and has already asked so many questions. Lin Han covers his eyes and mouth and says that he is older than he looks. Du slaps his fist on his palm and says that he is still very strong for his age. She is lucky to have met him. Lin Han turns to Du and asks why she even went into the Diamond Forest in the first place. Du closes her eyes, spreads her arms to the side, shrugs her shoulders and says that mage equipment is very expensive nowadays, so she decided to try her luck in the Diamond Forest to earn some money. Du puts her hands together, smiles sweetly and says that now she has a protector she can rely on. Du puts her hands on her waist and smiles broadly. Lin Han thinks that she is very trusting and that he should look after her since he has decided to rescue her. Lin Han puts his hand on Du's shoulder and says she shouldn't rely on luck. There is a bang in the Diamond Forest. Lin Han and Du turn around to see the source of the noise. Lin Han says that's what he was talking about. A bloodthirsty golden rank gorilla stands on its hind legs and beats its chest. Lin Han points his finger at the gorilla and says that this is what you can face if you rely on luck. Du looks fearfully at the gorilla and tells Lin Han to stop bullying, and why such a dangerous monster has appeared at the edge of the forest in the first place. Lin Han stands in front of Du and tells her to stand behind him and stay out of the fight. Du covers her head with her hand and says that Lin Han can be relied on. The gorilla strikes with his fist, but Lin Han stops him with one hand. Lin Han smiles and says it's a bit weak for a gold rank. Du grabs his face and starts screaming with distraught eyes. Lin Han turns around and asks what's going on there. Lin Han comes to a shock. Standing there is a monster wolf and howling. Following the wolf comes a whole pack of similar wolves. Lin Han questioningly says that it is a pack of demonic wolves with red eyes. Du grabs Lin Han's waist and yells that they will die like this. The monsters have them pinned on both sides. Lin Han tells Du not to panic. He is capable of handling them. Lin Han grabs the gorilla by the wrist. The gorilla growls angrily. Lin Han lifts the gorilla by the wrist above him. Lin Han jumps high up, dragging the gorilla behind him. With force, Lin Han throws the gorilla. The gorilla lands in a pack of wolves, crushing many of them with its weight. Lin Han lands on the ground next to Du. Lin Han points his finger towards the lying pile of monsters and says, "That's it." Du looks at him with admiration and smiles. Du says Lin Han is awesome and he has one more fan from this day forward. Lin Han dies with his hands at his sides and asks if Du thinks something abnormal is going on in the Diamond Forest today. Du says that she has never seen so many strong monsters on the outskirts before. Lin Han thinks that it seems that the monsters are also sensing that a natural disaster is coming, so they started to come out of the Diamond Forest, which means that the monsters will continue to come out until there is an earthquake. Maybe he can speed up the earthquake with a forbidden level spell to prevent the monsters from coming. Lin Han scratches his cheek with his index finger, looks at Du and thinks that he can't use the forbidden level spell in front of her and needs to think of something. Du squints at Lin Han and puts his hand on Lin Han's shoulder and says that she is not afraid of any bosses now. Lin Han can handle them all. Lin Han crosses her arms on her chest and says that Du will go back alone, so she can't count on him. Disappointed and surprised, he takes his hand off Lin Han's shoulder. Lin Han says that he senses that there is a very powerful and nefarious man lurking in the Diamond Forest right now. He is probably the reason why the monsters have started to come out to the outskirts of the forest. He wants to fight him. Du points a finger at herself and asks how she is. Lin Han turns his head to Du and says that she will get out of the forest with no problem. Fearfully, Du looks at the corpse of the dead demon wolf and asks what will happen if she encounters the monster again. Lin Han reassuringly says not to be afraid, the monsters won't catch up with her. Lin Han smiles as he puts his arm around Du's shoulders. Lin Han throws Du high into the air. Du flies high above the trees. Du lands on the rocky ground. She lies down and is surprised that there is not a single scratch on her. Did Lin Han use some trick on her? Blue energy glows along her body. Lin Han sighs in relief and says that he is finally rid of Du. It's time to put his plans into action. Lin Han approaches the lake in the Diamond Forest. Lin Han raises his staff up and uses the forbidden spell Chaos Area. There is a fiery hole in the sky with burning rocks flying from it. Du looks up at the sky in shock, her mouth open, and she covers it with her hand, realizing that this is the effect of the forbidden spell. There is an explosion in the forest and a mushroom rises into the sky from the explosion. Fires burst out of the ground and crumble the earth. The ice on the lake cracks. Lin Han looks at what's happening and worries if he's overdoing it, saying it doesn't matter, first we need to find the source of the disaster. Yan'an City Intelligence Department. One of the soldiers hurriedly runs into the office and excitedly reports that they have found a huge release of magical energy in the Diamond Forest. Also, a girl recently reported that there are 2 masters fighting in the Diamond Forest right now, and one of them used a forbidden level spell. The head is lying in a chair wearing an eye patch. Jumps up and says for them to quickly report everything to Elder Lin Tian. Lin Tian appears in the doorway and says that he is already here. He stands at attention in front of Lin Tian and reports to him that according to their information, there are 2 powerful masters fighting in the Diamond Forest right now, and they need help. The elder clutches his beard and says that he came here thinking it was because of the earthquake and didn't expect it to be like this. There have been too many powerful nameless masters lately. The head asks Lin Tian if they will prepare for the takeover. Lin Tian says that they must first find out their exact location and broadcast their fight anyway. They must meet them, and they will think about arresting them later. The head accepts the order and puts his hand to his head, saluting. The head runs out of the office. Lin Tian looks at the head and thinks that it doesn't look like this forbidden spell in the Diamond Forest was used by a master of the Divine Realm. However, with the strength of a master of the Holy Realm, he already regrets taking this case. Lin Han stands in the cave with a mad expression, holding a blue glowing ball in his hand, and says that he has finally found the source of the disaster. Lin Han turns his head sharply and says that he senses very strong auras nearby. Lin Han through the screen looks at what is going on outside. There is the head, Lin Tian, and a small squad. Lin Tian gives orders that they should use all available search and defense devices, but they have to find these people. Lin Han takes out a portable teleporter. He thinks about the fact that if they have time to put up the defense formations, he won't be able to escape from here anymore. A pictogram appears under Lin Han's feet, the thought in his head, just so long as it works. The searchers stand and search the 2 masters by instrument. They lay down, no one in the southeast, no one in the northeast. The third shouts out that there is someone in the northwest on a tablet with a glowing red dot. A beam of light flashes through the sky where the object was found. The head and Lin Tian stand in amazement looking at the sky. The head says, "Who is that?" They let it go again. Lin Tian says this is the action of a portable teleportation formation. Ordinary people don't possess such a thing. Lin Han is standing at the mirror wearing a black turtleneck and brushing his teeth. The phone rings and on the screen it says, Supervisor Liu. Lin Han picks up the phone and says, Good morning. Liu starts asking Lin Han if he woke him up, if something serious happened yesterday. Lin Han asks what's wrong. Liu says that yesterday there was an earthquake in Yan'an City and then a mysterious master showed up there. He was worried about Lin Han, so he called. Lin Han smilingly says he hasn't had a chance to go there yet and asks what's up with the source of the disaster. Lin Han apologizes for worrying unnecessarily. Liu smiles and tells Lin Han not to worry. It's his job and he will contact Lin Han as soon as he gets new information about the source of her natural disaster. Lin Han frowns and looks at his phone and says that this old fox was checking it. Lin Han face towel dies and thinks he already has the source and now he can reach the third realm. Liu is sitting at his desk and holding papers. He says Mysterious Master Wang Qiang. Portable teleportation formation. Lin Han underestimates him too much. He realizes that Lin Han was trying to act secretly. However, one cannot leave such obvious traces. Upgrade Hall. At the entrance, Lin Han is greeted by a female employee who is already over the top. She too has already memorized Lin Han. Lin Han laughingly scratches the back of his head and says he's here for another upgrade. The female employee covers her mouth in surprise and says that Lin Han had just gotten his upgrade 2 months ago, so does he really have the source of the disaster on his hands? Lin Han beats his chest with his palm and says he has already prepared everything. Lin Han and a female employee are standing talking. A couple walks by and the man says Lin Han is a monster. He showed up here 2 months after being promoted to the second realm. A real monster, and how do you even fight him? The girl looks admiringly at Lin Han and says that is she really going to see the birth of a third-grade sacrificial with her own eyes. The girl smilingly says that Lin Han is incredible and asks him to put his hand on the crystal, and they will give him a task. Lin Han puts his hand on the crystal. An electronic sign pops up that says, Name, Lin Han. Class, Sacrifice. Level, 20th level 2 Kingdom. Upgrade quest, go to the Iron Forest, defeat the Forest Guardian and bring the Guardian's heart. Job type, group. Task class, S. Lin Han frowns, thinking that the sacrifices are really not easy again for an S-class task. And it is unlikely that they have an iron forest in the city. Lin Han says he accepts the assignment. The staff member bows and says she will assign the task to Lin Han right away. The deadline for the task is tomorrow. Lin Han sits at the table. Liu serves him coffee and says he is very happy to see him. Lin Han takes the coffee in one hand and holds out a piece of paper with the other and smiling says that he has come to see Liu on business. Here is a list of materials and equipment he needs. He has an upgrade assignment to go to Yan'an City. Liu takes a piece of paper and says that he congratulates Lin Han in advance on his promotion to the third realm. Lin Han will be the first altar of the third realm. Liu thinks that for the third realm, sacrificial altars require 3 sources of natural disaster. Lin Han didn't accidentally find the third one right after yesterday's earthquake. Lin Han drinks coffee and looks at Liu suspiciously, and thinks that Liu obviously suspects him of something and needs to think of something to avert his suspicions at least a little. Lin Han closes his eyes and says that the master took such a risk to get him the third disaster source and he just can't let him down. After all, he's just a support person, so he feels a little sorry that all the work is falling on the master. Liu is shocked to think that if Lin Han is talking about the mysterious master who has never been discovered, then that would explain how quickly he was able to gather 3 sources of natural disasters. But how strong is his master? He must do whatever it takes to mend his relationship with these two. Liu says that he has a new artifact and suggests Lin Han take a look at it. Liu removes his cloak and Lin Han looks with admiration at the item. On the plate lies a piece of golden-colored mask. On the spreadsheet is written, name, transformation mask type, mask level, gold. Description of the equipment, allows you to change your face at will, but it is not recommended to wear it for too long, otherwise the face may retain the changed appearance forever. Lin Han is impressed by this item, so he asks how much it costs. Liu says that since Lin Han is a regular customer, he will give it away for only 4 million. Lin Han points 2 fingers and says 2 million. Liu turns on his calculator and says he can't sell it for less than 3,800,000. Lin Han says the price is 2,800,000. Liu grips the mask plate with his hand and says 3 million is the lowest threshold. Lin Han grabs Liu's hand and shakes it and says, deal. Lin Han doesn't take his eyes off the item he received and waves goodbye to Liu and says she is awesome. Liu bows and thinks that this mask is not a big price to pay for a good relationship with a couple with unlimited potential. Liu wishes Lin Han good luck. Lin Han tells the system to amplify the mask 10,000 times. Lin Han holds up the upgraded mask on the spreadsheet. It says, System Amplified Transformation Mask 10,000 times. Title: Freedom God Mask. Type: Mask. Level: Legendary. Description of equipment: By wearing the mask, the wearer can reincarnate into a familiar person. The wearer's appearance, gender, and build will change, and the wearer will gain the abilities of the person he has reincarnated into. Lin Han looks at the mask and says that with this mask he can pretend to be his master as long as he wants. No one will ever guess that it could be Lin Han. Needs to try out the chili of this mask. Lin Han was shrouded in mist. Lin Han turned into Gao Chun. He looks in the mirror and thinks that he can't tell the difference from Gao Chun. By the way, Wang Qiang said that Gao Chun planned to go to Yanyan City tomorrow for training. If he pretends to be him, no one will know that Lin Han was there. City buildings. Gao Chun is walking down the street. Lin Han is watching Gao Chun from around the corner holding a mask on his head and thinking that Gao Chun is a friend to be his alibi. Gao Chun walks through the city and the crowd. Lin Han turns into a guy in a white business suit with blonde hair. He calls out to Gao Chun and says he recognized him immediately when he heard the voice. Gao Chun asks what he is doing here. Lin Han grabs Gao Chun's hand and says that he congratulates him on entering the prestigious academy. He is sure that Gao Chun will reach unprecedented heights there. Now he has to buy his senior a drink. Gao Chun says he'll have to arrange it somehow. Lin Han hugs Gao Chun and says they should do it right now to congratulate him. Lin Han takes off his mask and thinks that Gao Chun is fast asleep and will stay there until tomorrow morning, while Lin Han will do his task in the Iron Forest. Lin Han puts on the mask. Lin Han and hands the drunken Gao Chun to the waitress. He gives the waitress who is standing holding the drunk Gao Chun a black VIP card and tells her to take his senior to the best room they have. But don't wake him up, he doesn't like it. Lin Han is standing around the corner of some building and says it's time for a character change. Lin Han turns into Gao Chun. He says that now no one will realize that Lin Han was in the Iron Forest. The sun is shining. Lin Han as Gao Chun walks towards the forest. Lin Han is clapped on the shoulder by a massive man with brown hair and beard who has a large sword behind his back. The man says if Lin Han would like to join them. They frequent the Iron Forest, so they have already earned a reputation. With an innocent look, Lin Han asks what this uncle is doing. With a humiliated look, the man walks back to the wall and leans his head against it. He says he is only 27 and still the beard ages people and will have to shave it off. A confused Lin Han thinks that he never thought that such a big man would be so vulnerable. Lin Han says his name is Gao Chun. His class is assassin, and he wonders what the man's name is, what his class is, and how many people he has in his squad. The guy immediately changes his face and says that his name is Wan Xian. He is a level 30 Night Guardian, and there are 2 other people in the squad besides him. Lin Han says that he will call him Brother Qian then. Xian's brother says that's better. The girl who was the judge for the academy exam appears behind them and asks if everyone is gathered. When he sees the judge, he goes into shock. Judging says Lin Han has recovered quickly. Her name is Gao Gan and she will be her teammate today. Du comes running in with 2 guys and apologizes for being late. Brother Xian asks Du who the 2 guys are. Du says her name is Du Wan and her class mage, and these 2 are investigating, so they are following her everywhere for now. These guys say they came to protect the girl and find out more about the mysterious master. Lin Han thinks he's out of luck, joining a team that will have employees who will inherit the case of him. Xian's brother says that everyone is on board, so they will get down to business. The team stands up in a group and a pentagram forms underneath them. The whole team moves into the Iron Forest. Gao Gan yells at Qian that it's too quiet and this has never happened before. Brother Xian says that they are both level 30. If it's not the Lord of the Iron Forest, they can handle all the creatures. Gao Gan tells Brother Xian to stop fooling around. A huge tiger monster appears. Brother Xian says it is only a steel tiger. Is Gao Gan scared of it? After one tiger, a whole bunch of steel tigers appeared. 2 of them start attacking. Brother Xian takes out his sword and shield and says that the left flank will leave the right flank to them. Gao Gan pulls out her weapon and says that she will leave their defense to Brother Xian and herself will go, though they are many but still small prey. Gao Gan flies between the 3 tigers at high speed and injures them. Du looks at it and says it is incredible. Lin Han says that the strength of the 2 major martial classes is really impressive. The other tigers don't stand a chance against the 2 level 30 warriors. A huge tiger with blue eyes is running. Brother Cyan says, "Where did the king of steel tigers come from? It is a gold-ranked boss. He has never met a boss in the outskirts of the Iron Forest before." Lin Han looks at Du and thinks that every time he is with this girl they are attacked by a gold-ranked boss. Something is obviously wrong with her luck. Brother Cyan holds the boss back with his shield. Brother Cyan says that this monster is very strong and he can't hold it back for long. They need to split up and run in different directions or they will all die. Du yells that they need to run. Everyone quickly run away in different directions. Lin Han finds himself alone in a meadow in the forest. Lin Han thinks that if there is no one else around, he can rely on the mask of the God of Freedom and create the mysterious master himself, which will finally put suspicion away from him. Out of the mist comes a hundredfold in a swamp dress. Lin Han says that now the mysterious old man will find everyone. Brother Cyan kneels on one knee and holds his shield with one hand and holds a sword stuck in the ground with the other hand, with Gao Gan standing beside him. Brother Cyan says what bad luck, they just entered the forest and immediately ran into a whole bunch of monsters with a boss at the head. Gao Gan yells at Brother Cyan to take care of himself. Brother Cyan cuts down a huge tree with his sword. Standing there is a gold-level demonic wolf boss. Brother Cyan rounds his eyes in fear and surprise. Brother Cyan says that luck has not turned away from them after all. This shadow wolf is alone. Brother Cyan throws his shield. The wolf jumps up over the shield. Gao Gan jumps on top of the wolf and says it is her prey. Gao Gan strikes the wolf with her sword, cleaving the back of its head. The wolf falls to the ground with a thud. Gao Gan puts his foot on the stricken prey. Brother Cyan raises his shield and tells Gao Gan that it is not good to steal other people's prey. Gao Gan says it was Brother Cyan's own fault for being so slow. Gao Gan and Brother Cyan stare angrily into each other's eyes and lightning flashes between them. Lin Han, in the form of an old man in a cloak, looks up from a tree branch to see what's going on. Lin Han thinks that this is to be expected from a level 30 master who easily dealt with a gold-ranked monster. And the pelt of this wolf is good, he wants it for himself. Lin Han jumps down from the branch and asks if he can take the shadow wolf's pelt for himself. Gao Gan and Brother Cyan look at Lin Han with indescribable shock. He was able to get so close to them but they felt nothing. Brother Cyan stabs his sword into the ground and menacingly asks why they should give him the fur. Lin Han says the shadow wolf fur would have been very useful to him. Too bad they refused to willingly give it to him. Brother Cyan tells Gao Gan to attack. Gao Gan says Brother Cyan might as well not say anything. With quick body movements, Lin Han stabs Gao Gan and Brother Cyan face first into the ground. Lin Han grits his teeth and says that they are now ready to talk. Gao Gan and Brother Cyan stand frazzled. Brother Cyan says that Lin Han can take the shadow wolf for himself. Gao Gan wishes Lin Han a good journey. Lin Han leaves. He thinks that fists solve all problems. He walks through the forest. From above, monster monkeys are attacking from all sides. The monkeys are all over Lin Han and try to bite him, but he is glowing golden in color. Lin Han throws his hands up and all the monkeys fly away. Lin Han smirks and says that it doesn't even look like a battle. With his current defense they can't even scratch him. The silhouette of a huge gorilla appears in front of Lin Han. The Lord of the Forest, three-eyed demonic gorilla. Lin Han looks startled and thinks that it is clear why those monkeys dared to attack him. They knew that this huge gorilla was behind them. Lin Han could certainly deal with them quickly, but first he wants to see his hand-to-hand combat skills. Lin Han leaps out of his seat and rushes to attack. The gorilla jumps up, dodging Lin Han's punch, and Lin Han's fist lands in the ground, leaving a huge hole. Lin Han says she has pretty good reflexes and he'll see how long she can dodge. Lin Han swings for another punch, but the gorilla puts her palm forward. Lin Han decides that she is already begging for mercy. The gorilla shakes its head in denial. The gorilla hits the tree trunk with his fist, breaking it. Gorilla picks up the broken tree trunk. Gorilla lifts the trunk above him and unwinds it. Lin Han says it's even more interesting with a gun. Gorilla lifts the trunk above him and Lin Han snaps out of it. Lin Han's fist smashes into the tree trunk and splinters fly from it. The gorilla is angry. Lin Han's punch smashes the tree and reaches the gorilla. The gorilla is knocked backwards. The gorilla lands on the ground. Lin Han says that an ordinary gold-level monster is no match for him. Lin Han notices voices coming from the forest. The voices say to hurry up and find the others. Du and the two scouts that accompany her stumble upon the body of the forest lord. All three of them are frightened and dazed, horror on their faces. Lin Han hides behind a tree and thinks about how he doesn't want to come in contact with Du. He's not having much luck around her. Du and the guys start to look at the corpse of the forest lord. One of them is a chubby guy who climbed on top of the gorilla and hypothesized that it was probably killed with one punch. The other guy says that the master probably fought with his bare hands as there are fist marks on the tree. Du put her finger to her chin and thought that this fighting style is similar to Wang Qiang's fighting style from the Diamond Forest. Gao Gan and Brother Cyan come over. Gao Gan helps Brother Cyan walk. Brother Cyan asks if she has seen Gao Chun. Du says she has not seen Gao Chun as he fallen into the clutches of the crowd of monsters. Hiding behind a tree, Du mentally thanks Du for his concern and thinks it would be foolish to come out now. He would rather go deeper into the forest and complete his task. Lin Han says he is finally rid of them. Lin Han wonders where he can find a forest guardian. Gold-ranked boss, guardian of the Iron Forest, looks like a stump with a scary face and wooden tentacles. The guardian directs its tentacles to attack. Lin Han jumps up. He thinks about the fact that this monster has good attacks and defense. To finish it, Lin Han will have to break through all its tentacles and hit the torso. While Lin Han is in the air, the wooden tentacles reach out to him. The tentacles grab Lin Han's legs and arms. The guardian looks at Lin Han and begins to growl. The forest rustles. Lin Han looks in the direction of the rustling. Different monsters approach the guard. A white lion, a tiger, a gorilla, etc. Lin Han lands on the ground and says that being the boss of the Iron Forest, he can subdue other local creatures. The noise is brought to Lin Tian's attention. Lin Tian says that there is something going on there, need to hurry. He runs to the source of the noise. Lin Han senses someone with a powerful aura approaching. He thinks that maybe the elder Lin Tian has already been summoned. It will be a hassle if he finds him. He needs to get it over with quickly. Lin Han says that he was hoping to play with him for a while, but he didn't have much time. Lin Han raises the staff up and casts the forbidden level spell Chaos Area. A pentagram appears in the sky. Sharp crystals fall from the pentagram. Gao Gan, Brother Cyan and Du look at the forbidden spell. Du thinks that perhaps it is the same master that Wan Cyan fought with. A protective barrier appeared over Brother Cyan's team to protect them from the forbidden spell. The whole team turns around and sees Lin Tian. They say that they are saved. Lin Tian says that he arrived here as soon as they reported that some mysterious master had appeared here. One of the scouts says that a few moments ago the entire Iron Forest shook and then a whole crowd of monsters fell deep into the forest. Du approaches Lin Tian and says that there was another guy, Gao Chun, with them. They couldn't find him. Lin Tian says he'll see what's going on. Everyone was impressed by his speed and interested in his level. Lin Han stands and holds the heart of a guard in his hand. The guard is lying dead on the ground. Lin Han looks at the heart and thinks the task is done. Lin Han starts to think of a plan to get Lin Tian off his back since Lin Tian is close by. An idea pops into Lin Han's head. Lin Han takes out a spare cell phone. Lin Han calls the branch of the Merchant Guild and asks if they are interested in the heart of a guard. Liu says that the customer cannot worry. They trade anything that can be sold profitably. How does the customer plan to make the exchange? Lin Han says that tomorrow morning he will leave the guardian's heart in one of the tree trunks in the outer left side of the forest outside the city, and the money for them to leave there as well. Lin Han accepts only cash and advises them not to look for his tracks. Liu bows and says he may not worry, they will do everything in the best way. Lin Han thinks that he will just buy the guard's heart from Liu later, and that will at least take suspicion away from him a little. Lin Tian walks and sees many monsters encased in ice. Lin Tian sees a huge crater in the ground. Lin Tian sees Lin Han in the form of Gao Chun, who is clawed into a tree and encased in ice. Lin Tian uses his magic and the ice crumbles. Lin Han is shivering and talking about how cold it is. Lin Tian asks if he is the same Gao Chun. Lin Han asks how Lin Tian knows his name. Lin Tian says Lin Han's comrades have already searched for him and if he saw what happened here. Lin Han rubs his shoulders and shivers from the cold and says that he was just trying to get out of the forest but somehow got deeper, and then he was blinded by a strong light and couldn't see anything else. Lin Tian says that his friends are already looking for him and he will take him to them. Lin Tian thinks that he doesn't think this guy is lying, but how the second realm assassin survived the forbidden spell remains a mystery. Lin Han returns to his comrades and scratches the back of his head. Brother Cyan says that Lin Han is quite resilient. Even the forbidden spell didn't take him. Lin Han scratches the back of his head and smiles stupidly. He says that he is lucky. He thanks everyone for the trouble and hopes that things will go on as usual. Brother Cyan says he has a quest to fulfill, so he leaves. Gao Gan says she has things to do too. Gao Gan and Brother Cyan go their separate ways. The scouts talk to Lin Tian. Lin Tian tells the scouts that he's suspicious of Gao Chun, so they send someone to follow him, and he goes to the scene and looks around. The guy is hanging on a tree branch and watching Lin Han walking. He thinks Lin Han is just an ordinary guy. Lin Han smirks and wonders if they are strong enough to follow him. Lin Han moves very quickly. The dazed guy jumps from the branch to the ground. He yells about where Lin Han disappeared to. Warning. Lin Han stretches sitting up in bed. Lin Han scratches his head and looks out the window. Above Lin Han's house is an all-seeing eye. The all-seeing eye is watching the crowd of people. Lin Han sits in lotus posture and meditates and uses the all-seeing eye. Lin Han found 5 from the security ministry. They started to follow Gao Chun and try to track Wang Qiang. However, still suspicious of Lin Han. Lin Han thinks that if he is careful, they will never be able to realize that Lin Han is behind everything. Lin Han brushes his teeth in front of the mirror. The phone rings and the screen says, "Manager Liu." Lin Han picks up the phone. Liu says he has great news. Yesterday they purchased the guardian heart that Lin Han needs to raise the kingdom when Lin Han comes to see it. Lin Han says he will come right away. Lin Han thinks about how yesterday's deal went off without a hitch. Now it's going to be all about acting. Need to act like it's good news. Lin Han runs out of the house in a tracksuit, followed by a man from the security ministry. The man says he can't believe Lin Han is faking and whether he even needs to be followed. The other guy says that Lin Han became the champion in this year's exam, so his current appearance on the contrary looks suspicious, so they don't let him out of their sight. Liu bows slightly and says that it's good to see Lin Han. Lin Han stands with his hands shoved in his pants pocket and asks if Liu has really gotten the heart of an Iron Forest guardian. Liu points his hand to the door that he would never lie. Everything is already prepared. One of the spies says how Lin Han, an ordinary high school student, was able to develop such a good relationship with Liu. The other spy asks what they will do now that they don't have the authority to search the merchant guild branches. The first one says let the second one stay here and keep watching while he contacts the top. Lin Han put his hand on the box containing the guard's heart. Liu says that they will always have everything. Lin Han holds the box with the guardian's heart in his hand and says that his place was also satisfied with their cooperation, so he asked him to sell his 2 items, and places the sword and armor on the table. A beautiful red sword with a sign above it that reads, "Name, Sword of the Bloody Butcher. Type, long mech. Level, legendary. Description: under the effect of the state, Berserk increases strength by 30%. Under the effect of the state, Bloodthirstiness increases strength by 50%. Above the armor hangs a sign with the following inscription: Name, Armor of the Earth. Type, armor. Level, legendary. Description: increases the wearer's defense by 30%. If the wearer is injured, the bonus will be increased to 50%. Liu looks at the sword and armor with burning eyes and says that this is legendary level equipment. Who is this master that he has such items? Lin Han looks at Liu and says that this equipment is worthless to his master and he doesn't want to be talked about, so he does everything through Lin Han. Liu puts his hand on his chest and says that he understood they will not publicize the name of the owner of this set. Lin Han asks if those people outside seem overly intrusive to Liu. Liu says he understood. Outside the door are 2 guys who spied on Lin Han and 2 guards. One of the guards says that this is a VIP area and outsiders are not allowed in. One of the spies says that Lin Han is just an ordinary guy, how could he get into the VIP area, and they don't intend to tolerate it. The guards block their entrance with their hand. Liu and Lin Han open the door and walk out. Liu says it's not up to them to decide who can enter the VIP area, and who can't. He tells the guards to escort the intruders out. Security escorts the spies out. Lin Han waves his hand and laughingly says that's the rules. Lin Han waves goodbye to Liu and says he will go. Liu tells Lin Han to take care of himself. Lin Han walks down the street. Liu looks after him and thinks that it seems that there is a class upgrade hall in that direction. Has Lin Han already reached level 20? Upgrade Hall. Lin Han is greeted by a female employee of the Upgrade Hall who greets Lin Han. Lin Han says that he was lucky to find something on the market that will help him upgrade. The employee walks over to the computer and says she will sign Lin Han up right away. Lin Han is standing and blue and red balloons are flying around him. The balloons hit Lin Han in the chest. He says it hurts. Lin Han is lying on the floor holding on to the impact and thinks he understands why there never was a 3rd-class altar. The sources of the natural disasters literally force the body to evolve. Without a resilient body, it just can't survive. Lin Han takes a seat and thinks about how he is already anxious to find out how strong he has become. The plaque reads, Name, Lin Han. Class, Altar, can be promoted to the next stage by absorbing the source of heavenly sorrow. Level 20. Energy 30 million. Dexterity 10 million. Magic 15 million. Stamina 30 million. Strength 30 million. Lin Han is standing and holding a staff. The plaque says, Additional skills, Fortress of the Thunder God. Thunder spell of forbidden level. In the area of effect of the spell, the damage of lightning spells on the wielder is reduced by 80%. In the area of effect of the spell, the damage of all lightning spells is increased by 50%. Fortress of the Wind God. Forbidden level wind spell reduces the damage of wind spells to the wielder by 80% in the spell's area of effect. and increases the damage of all wind spells by 50% in the spell's area of effect. Lin Han says that he has stroked the source of the natural disaster. If he is attacked by any lightning or wind spell master, he won't stand a chance against Lin Han. There is a crowd of people standing around the electronic pole. The entire crowd is dumbfounded and shouting that the screen is broken. The screen reads, Lin Han has raised the altar class to the 3rd realm. The envious men angrily grit their teeth and said that how could Lin Han raise the altar class to the 3rd realm? Another guy fixes his hair and says that he is still a beginner, so he doesn't really understand why everyone is wondering if a 3rd realm altar is so rare. The envious guy smacks the new guy upside the head and asks him what he was taught in school. The guy points his finger at the screen and says that the altar class requires disaster sources to upgrade to new realms, so there hasn't been a single 3rd realm altar in the entire history of mankind. The girl draws people's attention to the fact that it says Lin Han is the champion of this year's exam. Another girl literally goes crazy and puts both hands on her chest and says that Lin Han is amazing. She always believed that he could do what no one else could. She is a true Lin Han fan and wants to marry him. Lin Han comes out of the portal and doesn't understand what's going on. There are a lot of people crowded around the portal. Lin Han asks the crowd why they are looking at him like that. The crowd rushes towards Lin Han and tells him to hold him. They want to take a picture with him. Lin Han stands warily and asks them to stop. At the gate of the house is a crowd of fans, many girls with posters. They shout that they want to see Lin Han and get his autograph. The entrance is guarded by 4 guards and they don't let the crowd get through. Lin Han walks around the house in a gray hoodie and is very annoying. Lin Han's mom asks if he robbed a bank with impunity. Lin Han's dad sits on the couch and reads the newspaper. Lin Han says it's the downside of being popular. If someone comes and asks, he's not home. Lin Han jumps out the window and yells that he's gone. Landing on the grass, Lin Han sees a girl with a ladder sneaking onto his property. The girl notices him too. Lin Han rushes to run, followed by a crowd of fans. Mom and dad are standing on the balcony. Lin Han's mom wipes her tears with a handkerchief and says that ex-boy has become an adult. Dad says that celebrities are not easy. Lin Han hides around the corner, takes off his cape, says that she never thought that fighting off a crowd of fans is harder than fighting off a crowd of monsters. The auction is about to start and he needs to hurry. Auction hall. Gao Chun sees Lin Han. Lin Han says what a coincidence. Gao Chun looks at Lin Han angrily and says that Lin Han thinks he can come to a high-end auction just because he became a bit famous. So don't make him laugh. This place is not for hillbillies like him. A female employee of the Merchants Guild branch comes out to bow and says that Leader Liu has already waited for Lin Han. This catches Gao Chup by surprise. Lin Han walks past Gao Chupia, hitting him with his shoulder. He says that he will then go. Don't want to keep Mr. Liu waiting. One of those who was with Gao Chun on bowing and says that Gao Chun said that Lin Han family's wealth is below average. Furious, Gao Chun walks away, leaving the guy with a bump on his head. Gao Chun wonders if Lin Han is being supported by some powerful person. Liu shows Lin Han a seat on a chair resembling a throne and says that he is assuring Lin Han that he will not go home empty-handed today. Lin Han thanks Liu and asks him to get some cloak because he doesn't want anyone to recognize him. Liu says that everything is coming right now. Liu starts towards Lin Han and holds out a black card with a gold VIP inscription on it. Liu says it's 100 million for the gear he sold them. He hopes they will continue to cooperate. A girl with brown hair and a bunny suit comes on stage. She welcomes everyone and says that the products they are presenting today will surely please them. The presenter points her hand to a table with a steel arm on it. The host says that she is presenting the first item, a steel hand forged from the fur of a steel tiger, a gold-level item that can increase stamina by 10%, and if shields are used, they are automatically raised to gold level. The hostess bangs her gavel and says that the starting price is 1.2 million. The minimum bid increase is 100,000. The people sitting in the audience start shouting out amounts: 1,300,000, 1,400,000, 1.5 million. Lin Han watches the bidding from the upper balcony sitting in the throne and thinks that he didn't expect this steel hand to please everyone so much. The hostess taps her gavel and says that the steel hand has been sold for 2.3 million. Liu stands with Lin Han and says that as expected, he will not be interested in such a small thing. But if he likes something, he will have to fight for it with those in the other VIP rooms. In the other rooms, there are also people sitting on thrones watching the bidding. Lin Han takes a candy in his mouth and asks if there are any important people there. Liu says that there are 5 great families in their empire: the Ma family, the Lai family, the Chen family, the Wang family, and the Gongsun family. They are the ones who hold all the untold wealth of the empire and have special privileges. Proudly smiling, Liu continues saying that Lin Han cannot worry at the auction rules apply. Whoever pays the most will take the prize for himself. Lin Han excitedly says that he didn't think to worry. He will buy back what he likes. The hall is dark. The light of the lamp falls on the presenter standing in the center of the stage. The presenter locks her hands and says that it's time to get to the main thing. The next item is one of the most important items of today's auction. A pass to ruins number 3 flies between the presenter's hands. The hostess says that ruin number 3 is one of the largest ruins in the world. These ruins are opened once every 30 years, and to enter it requires special fragments. Now there are only 100 of these special fragments left in the world. All masters up to and including diamond level can enter ruin number 3, and masters entering the ruins must not be more than 30 years old. The starting price is 10 million. The minimum bid increase is 500,000. The room starts to buzz. The attendees jump out of their seats. One says that he should get this ticket number 3 and shouts the amount of 12 million. Another shouts that 12 million for this lot is nothing. He shouts the amount of 20 million. Another shouts the amount of 30 million. Someone shouted 50 million. Lin Han says that this lot can be rightfully called the main item of this auction. Liu looks at Lin Han with a sly smile and says that this item is clearly a bit interesting to him. Lin Han says he has to get his hands on this lot and offers 80 million. The 4th son of the Ma family, a white-haired young guy in a black t-shirt and white unbuttoned shirt, jumps up. Behind him, a short-cropped black-haired girl in a business suit is sitting in the Kremlin. The girl tells Ma Tianxin to offer more. Ma Tianxin offers 100 million. Ma Tianxin puts his palm forward and shouts to Lin Han that this pass will prove very useful to the Ma family, so he hopes Lin Han will refuse the bidding and concede it to them, and they in turn will compensate with 50 million. Liu leans over to Lin Han and says that these gentlemen are the Ma family's 4th son, Ma Tianxin, and the 2nd young lady, and he wants to point out that they don't often fight over things like this. He thinks Lin Han will have good connections if he agrees to the deal. Lin Han says that the 5 great families are very powerful, but now they are in an auction and the highest bidder wins. Lin Han is sure that they will keep bidding. He will have to sell all the silver and gold level equipment he has accumulated. Lin Han puts the amount at 150 million. Ma Tianxin looks at Lin Han and asks if he is sure he wants to make such an enemy and says 180 million. Lin Han says he is not afraid of the 5 great families, 200 million. Ma Tianxin points a finger at Lin Han and says he has memorized him. The hostess bangs her gavel and says it's unbelievable, mister. Offered 200 million, 200 million once, 200 million twice, 200 million 3, sold. Liu looks at Lin Han with worry and says that Lin Han cannot hold back at all. He is afraid that today's disrespect to the Ma family tomorrow will be known to the whole empire. Lin Han crosses his arms across his chest and says with a playful smile that anyone going to the auction should be prepared for the possibility that someone will bid more money. And besides, they've already agreed that no one to know his identity. Liu makes a thoughtful face, puts his fist to his chin and says that Lin Han is right. Although the Ma family will not just leave it at that, but let Lin Han be sure that their auction does not disclose the identity of their guests to anyone. Even if someone starts digging into him, the most they can find out is that he's their secret guest. Lin Han says that Mr. Liu can be relied on as always. Liu smiles slyly and shows Lin Han 5 fingers and says that Lin Han is a pleasure to deal with. He would like Lin Han to bring 5 items of the level he brought earlier to the sale next time. Lin Han crosses his arms and says 5 is too much. Liu laughs and says let it be 2 then. Lin Han quickly shakes his hand in agreement. Liu thinks that he is a bit overreacting too much too. You can't otherwise piss off the powerful master Lin Han. Liu tells Lin Han that they are now going to put up for sale the butcher's bloody sword and the earth armor that Lin Han brought, so it will be a bit noisy here. Why don't they move to the VIP room? Lin Han agrees. An hour later, a panting auction worker runs into Lin Han and Liu's room. She happily says that Lin Han's 2 equipment has been sold for 6,350 million silver. Lin Han is speechless when he opens his family tree and thinks that these families are incredibly wealthy. Even with the 20% service fee charged by the auction, he will be able to live the rest of his life without needing anything. Liu turns to Lin Han and tells Lin Han to calm down. By continuing to cooperate with them, he will be able to get much more soon. They will transfer the money to Lin Han's card. Stammering, Lin Han says that he's just a little worried about offending the Ma family, and now he also got so much money. Liu sits down on a chair and tells Lin Han not to worry. A very powerful merchant guild master will be watching over him for 3 days. He promises that Lin Han's safety will not be threatened. Lin Han is walking down an alleyway. Lin Han comes across Ma Tianxin, his sister, and 2 attendants. Lin Han asks how they found him. Ma Tianxin says that the people from his family have surrounded the auction building for a long time. Not even a fly can pass unnoticed. They have memorized everyone who entered the building. But the unknown man in the green cloak came out. Lin Han says that they certainly did a good job, but he is not going to give up the pass to ruins number 3. Ma Tianxin says that they are not going to take it away. They are asking Lin Han to give it to them for another 100 million on top. Lin Han ponders that the fact that they are willing to shell out another 100 million on top shows that this relic is truly priceless. Ma Tianxin, speaking to Lin Han, says that their Ma family has no evil intentions. They are not trying to take away what they have earned through honest labor. They just want to offer him the money to let them use the pass as well. Lin Han tells Ma Tianxin to learn to talk from his sister. Ma Tianxin yells a bit whether Lin Han agrees or not. Ma Tianxin calms Ma Tianxin's ardor. Lin Han throws back the cloak and says that he won't share what he bought with his own money, and if they want it then let them come and get it themselves. Ma Tianxin says that Lin Han headed out on his own and let the guys in right his brains. The escorts of Ma's family rush in to attack. All the attackers are blown away by a powerful gust of wind. The attackers are lying on the ground. A woman's voice asks if they want to lay down. A gorgeous pink-haired girl with emerald eyes walks towards Lin Han from the back. Ma Tianxin shouts that it is the goddess of assassins, the elder Fei Hua. Fei Hua tells them not to call her elder. She's not that old. And haven't the guys forgotten the rules of the 3 days of the auction? Ma Tianxin apologizes and says that her brother seems to have completely forgotten about it, and they are on their way out. The Ma family heirs run away with the servants. Lin Han looks at them thinking that Ma Tianxin knows how to assess the situation and act decisively. Whether it is a show of force or retreat, this Ma Tianxin girl is not as simple as she seems. Lin Han turns to Fei Hua and says that they should go too, and smiles sweetly. Fei Hua spreads her arms and asks where they should go. Lin Han points a finger in the direction and says that she's been ordered to protect him for 3 days, so she's going where Lin Han is going. He feels like there is someone else following him. Will she help him get rid of them? Fei Hua turns his head in the direction Lin Han was pointing. Behind them there were 2 guys hiding behind the corners. Fei Hua says why would she do that? She should be protecting Lin Han, not getting rid of his enemies, or else he wants to hire her. Lin Han smiles playfully and says that sounds good, and how much does it cost to hire her? Fei Hua is silent for a moment, closes her eyes, puts her finger to her cheek and moves. She blushes, pulls out her phone and says at least 2 million. Lin Han thrust his hand forward and it glowed. Several wads of money appeared on Fei Hua's hand. Fei Hua immediately tells Lin Han to provide it to her. A strong wind stream with dust and debris is formed. Voices from the dust cloud shouts for Mrs. Fei Hua to stop because they are not plotting anything. Lin Han watches the scene with his hands folded into the shape of binoculars. He says that Fei Hua has fierce strength and she deserves her title of goddess of assassination. Behind Fei Hua lies a mountain of defeated people. Fei Hua shakes off her hands and says that everything is ready. She has already checked the surrounding area in a radius of 10 miles and has not seen anyone suspicious anymore. Fei Hua points a finger at Lin Han and says he can expand the search circle if he pays another 1.6 million discount of 20%. Lin Han asks if Fei Hua doesn't have any money at all. Humiliated, Fei Hua retreats into the shadows and runs her finger on the wall. She says that the materials needed for upgrading are very expensive, and also the fancy dresses, bags and shoes, all around expensive but not enough money. Lin Han tries to comfort Fei Hua and tells her not to worry about it. He will hire her for a month and pay her 500 million. Fei Hua immediately changes her face and takes on an innocent look and says stop talking about money. It's not important. She just feels that she has to protect Lin Han and there is definitely a connection between them. Fei Hua puts her finger to her lips and with a slight blush says that from today she is all his. Lin Han's house. Lin Han is sleeping. On the neighboring building from Lin Han's house sit spies. One of them tells the captain that in a few days Lin Han has done nothing suspicious. How long do they have to watch the winter? The captain, chewing him out, tells them to just keep sitting under orders from above so that if they dig up something we can count on a promotion. The captain looks away embarrassed. He says they need to watch Lin Han, not him. The captain sits in lotus position with a huge shadow on the ground behind him. One of the spies says behind the captain, The captain abruptly turns around in fright. The shadow grabs the captain and pulls him into himself. Shadow says it was the last warning. If he sees any spies, he'll get serious because they can't be separated just by passing out. The others are all very frightened. One of them puts his hands up and says that they dare not dare anymore. The shadow stands at full height and the spies rush to scatter. Fei Hua appears from the shadow and says that Lin Han will not be disturbed now. Morning, Lin Han stretches out sitting up in bed. Lin Han is blushing. Standing next to Lin Han's bed is Fei Hua. Lin Han says, "Good morning." Lin Han nervously asks what Fei Hua is doing in his room. Fei Hua yawns and closes her eyes and says that she was wondering who he managed to piss off. There were some people hanging around his villa, so she had to deal with them all night. Lin Han says he hopes she didn't kill anyone. Fei Hua waves her hand away and tells Lin Han not to worry, she's just scaring them. They won't bother him again. Fei Hua says she's doing a pretty good job. Can they consider extending the contract? Lin Han confusedly scratches his head and asks how long she wants to extend for. Fei Hua pulls out her phone and briskly starts counting. She says there are 12 months in a year multiplied by 5 considering that every 10 years will be discounted. That's about 100 years. Lin Han stops her and says where is she in such a hurry? They don't call her the goddess of assassins for nothing. Fei Hua says there's no money to be made from modesty. Main training grounds. Fei Hua asks Lin Han if he really wants to train. Lin Han says he is here to meet a friend, then they will all go to the golden portal together. Lin Han says there he is. Wang Qiang runs to Lin Han followed by Liu Yunian. Wang Qiang says that he thought Lin Han had forgotten about him. Lin Han says that Wang Qiang is not wasting time. Wang Qiang and Liu Yunian are embarrassed and turn away from each other. Wang Qiang says that they just got a little closer after the exam. Liu Yunian says that they are just friends. Lin Han starts telling them to stop denying each other and asks if she sees the same thing. Wang Qiang asks who this young lady is with Lin Han. Lin Han blushes and says it's his older cousin. Fei Hua wipes her tears with a handkerchief and says that first Lin Han called her cute and now she is his older cousin. Is he going to dump her because of her age? Wang Qiang points his finger at the class and says that it is good. Lin Han gets nervous and says there was no such thing and to have Fei Hua introduce herself normally. Fei Hua says her name is Jiang Ruix and she is the assassin of the Third Kingdom. Lin Han turns to Fei Hua and asks when she had time to change her name. A staff member says that the golden portal will open soon and we should hurry up. Lin Han asks Fei Hua in a whisper if it will be okay since it requires face and name authentication. Fei Hua confidently crosses her arms on her chest and tells him not to worry. Her sister's name is Jiang Ruixin and they are very similar, so she will just use her identity. Authentication was successful. They say there is only one left. They need to prepare to open the golden portal. Lin Han and Wang Qiang call out from behind. Wang Qiang and Lin Han turn around. Lin Han calls the man with the green-jacketed grandfather Yuan Zai and says they haven't seen each other in a long time. Yuan Zai says he doesn't want to be in a squad with the pests. Can he switch with someone? The staff member yells that he doesn't care what he wants and what he doesn't want. The squad is already formed, so let him stop whining and go to the portal. Desert. Stick a red flag and swords in the sand. Lin Han's squad and other squads are walking through the desert. Wang Qiang asks if Lin Han is familiar with this place. He feels that they have already been here when they entered the replica of the silver portal. Lin Han says he feels the same way. He senses danger and asks everyone to be careful. Wang Qiang says that what Lin Han is talking about, they have already fought the hidden boss and everything is fine. 2 bull monsters and a huge silhouette of bull monsters. Lin Han says who is pulling Wang Qiang's tongue. Now they will have to fight a whole squad of these hidden bosses. Lin Han and Wang Qiang stand with their backs to each other surrounded by monsters. Wang Qiang asks how come the hidden boss is suddenly a regular monster. Is this place so dangerous? Yuan Zai strikes the monster with his claws. Yuan Zai says that these minotaurs are at least level 15, but he himself is only level 18. Let the guys handle it and he'll leave. Yuan Zai rushes. Wang Qiang turns around and says that if there are so many of them, there will be more in the depths of the ruins. The safest thing to do is to stay close to Brother Han. Lin Han uses his staff to hit the monster with lightning. Lin Han stands over the lying monster and says that he certainly doesn't like it, but he wouldn't want it to go down there. He's after it. Wang Qiang and Liu Yunian are worried about how they will cope without Lin Han. Fei Hua looks at them angrily and Wang Qiang says of course not. He is sure that Senior is incredibly strong. However, there are so many monsters here. Even she will have a hard time. Fei Hua wipes her blade with a napkin behind her. There is already a monster's breathless body lying behind her. Fei Hua looks at Wang Qiang and says that she has been too relaxed lately and needs to sharpen her skills more often. Wang Qiang says he doesn't know what she is talking about. Wang Qiang thought Lin Han was a monster, but it turns out there are worse monsters than him. Lin Han runs and tells Fei Hua to take care of them. Fei Hua yells after Lin Han that there's a fee. Lin Han is very upset but says the most important thing is that she protects them. Yuan Zai is fighting a crowd of monsters. Yuan Zai says that there are too many monsters and he can't beat them, but he can't escape, so he can't really die in such a bad place. Yuan Zai covers the wound on his arm. Lin Han mockingly, with a smile, shouts to Yuan Zai that he will help deal with the monsters if Yuan Zai asks nicely. Yuan Zai says he would rather die than ask Lin Han for help. The Minotaur stabs its weapon a few centimeters away from Yuan Zai's face. Lin Han sits on the cliff and tells Yuan Zai to take his time, think it over carefully, and not to worry about the marvelous view from up there. Yuan Zai diverges from the monster strike. Yuan Zai lands a nice-looking kick to the body. Yuan Zai says that it seems like he and Lin Han got off on the wrong foot, their conversation. Yuan Zai sits on the ground holding his wounded arm, his mouth bleeding. Lin Han sits up and spreads his hands, saying that he has already given him his terms. Above Yuan Zai stands a huge minotaur who lures with his axe. Yuan Zai tries to stand up. Yuan Zai begs Lin Han for help. Lin Han snaps out of his seat and says that this is what Yuan Zai would have done right away. He wouldn't have had to receive mists from the minotaurs. Lin Han stands in front of Yuan Zai and holds back the axe blow with the magic of his staff. Yuan Zai says that he is saved. Yuan Zai turns around. In a panic, Yuan Zai yells that it seems they are already surrounded. 3 minotaurs come running. Lin Han asks if Yuan Zai has forgotten what class he is. Yuan Zai says his class is sacrificial and how will he help them in such a situation. Lin Han grabs Yuan Zai by the leg and says he has a good memory, sometimes you have to make sacrifices, this time it will be him. Lin Han gives Yuan Zai a toss. Yuan Zai screams to finish him off. Lin Han stands with his chin up. Next to him stands Yuan Zai. In front of them lay the corpses of the monsters. Yuan Zai is throwing up. Lin Han says that Yuan Zai has a killer class. Why is he so frail? He can't even withstand this speed. Yuan Zai takes Lin Han by the scruff of the neck and yells that no one can withstand such speed. Lin Han says that he has raised a lot of levels for that. Yuan Zai says that he has gained a lot of experience, just a little more and he will be able to upgrade his class. Lin Han and Yuan Zai are looking somewhere in the distance. Lin Han says that it seems the others are not doing as well as they are, whether Yuan Zai will go with him. She says that he is not the kind of person who just forgets to help. Wang Qiang's card breaks the Minotaur's weapon. Wang Qiang holds the magic card between 2 fingers and says that it turns out gold-level monsters are not that strong. Liu Yunian pinches Wang Qiang and says that if it wasn't for Fei Hua's help, they wouldn't have gotten away with it. Fei Hua stands in front of Wang Qiang and Liu Yunian keep their weapons at the ready and says that it's about to get really dangerous. Liu Yunian asks Fei Hua what happened. Fei Hua says that the Minotaurs have stopped, even though they were running like mad a few minutes ago. The ground splits in 2. Liu Yunian, Fei Hua and Wang Qiang catch their balance. A huge Minotaur sits on a throne, its dark sword standing next to the throne. The boss of the gold-ranked Minotaur Lord. Liu Yunian and Wang Qiang stand in shock that a Minotaur Lord has appeared in the golden-ranked dungeon. Fei Hua looks at the Minotaur Lord. Minotaur Lord does not pose much of a threat to her, but the fact that I will have to protect these 2 during the battle with him will make it very difficult. Behind Fei Hua lands Lin Han and Yuan Zai. Lin Han smiles and says that they are back and it seems just in time. When Yuan Zai sees the Minotaur Lords, he is horrified and can't give up the task. Lin Han thinks it's too late to back out. The Minotaur Lord draws his sword and rushes to attack. When the Minotaur Lord lands on the ground, many rocks fly out and cracks appear on the ground. Yuan Zai and Fei Hua jump up, and Lin Han loses his balance and falls to the ground. Liu Yunian sits on the ground and Wan Xian wonders where the bull has gone. Fei Hua warns them to be careful. Wang Qiang's feet fall under the ground. Wan Xian spits out blood. A Minotaur Lord came out of the ground. Liu Yunian's mouth spat out blood. Wan Xian and Liu Yunian fly away from the shockwave and fall to the ground. Wan Xian tells Liu Yunian to run away and he will try to hold him off. Liu Yunian reaches out to Wang Qiang and says they should run away together. The Minotaur Lord runs at Liu Yunian and Wang Qiang. I prepare a speech to strike. Lin Han stops the Minotaur Lord's sword with his staff. Lin Han irritatedly says that if they are injured then let them move aside instead of acting out such scenes. Yuan Zai piles Wang Qiang and Liu Yunian on his shoulders and carries them away from the battlefield. Wan Xian asks when Yuan Zai was able to become so kind, even help decided to help. Yuan Zai says that they are just underfoot so he decided to remove them. Wang Qiang says he thought so. Lin Han created a protective barrier. The Minotaur Lord goes underground. Lin Han didn't expect this big guy to be able to hide underground. Fei Hua asks why such a strong Lin Han couldn't even catch the Minotaur Lord. Lin Han turns to Fei Hua and says that he was the one who hired her for protection, and now it seems like it's the other way around. Fei Hua pulls out her blade and tells Lin Han not to worry, since he paid her. She'll do her job properly. Lin Han won't have to do anything else. Let him stand by and watch her fight this monster. Lin Han sits down on the ground and says that it will be useful to watch such an experienced master fight. The Minotaur Lord jumps out of the ground ready to strike. The Minotaur Lord's sword is very close to Fei Hua's face. Fei Hua splits into 6. Fei Hua, the monster's sword slams into the ground. Fei Hua attacks the monster from different sides. Fei Hua chops the monster's sword. Kazan's soaring petals bloody attack. The Minotaur Lord disintegrates into a pile of chopped pieces. The monster falls to the ground behind Fei Hua's back. Fei Hua proudly asks if Lin Han is satisfied with her work and if he spent the money for nothing. Lin Han says it was definitely not a waste. Lin Han thinks about the fact that she gave this monster over 100 chopping blows in just a couple of seconds. Well, she deserves her title of Goddess of Assassins. Liu Yunyan is treating Wang Qiang. Wang Xian notices that everything has quieted down. Did the Minotaur Lord kill them? Under Wang Qiang Yuan Zai, Liu Yunyan appeared pentagram. The dungeon is past, so Lin Han and Fei Hua still managed to deal with that monster, but it was too fast. Dungeon Hall. On the E-column sign, it said, New Notice. All the hidden tasks have been completed. The list of Team Lin Han, Zhang Ruixin, Wang Qian, Liu Yunyan, Yuan Zai. Team Lin Han is transported to the Dungeon Hall. Boss Tian says that Junior Lin is really good. Whether he is free tonight, Tian could treat the new heroes of the dungeon to dinner. Lin Han stands in front of the boss and kneads his shoulder. Lin Han says that his first gift was enough. Boss Tian doesn't understand what he is talking about, if he has offended him in any way. Lin Han hands over a piece of paper and says that in the gold rank dungeon that holds their training ground, they met with the Minotaur Lord, the gold rank boss. They invited them there. If they didn't have a couple of trump cards in reserve, they wouldn't have gotten out of there alive. Boss Tian nervously picks up a piece of paper and says that he didn't send anything and doesn't understand how it happened, but says goodbye. Lin Han crosses his arms across his chest and says they almost lost their lives, and he tries to buy them off with a simple apology. Boss Tian asks what Lin Han wants. Lin Han says that Wan Xian has suffered the most serious wounds and it's up to him to decide. Wan Xian looks towards Liu Yunyan. Wan Xian says that they are not beasts to blackmail the dungeon owner. Let him give out 2 gold level equipment and they are even. Lin Han looks at Wang Qiang and thinks what a fool he is for asking. Boss Tian says no problem. They will deliver everything tomorrow, and they will also include 3 free passes to the dungeons where all masters below the Saint stage can go. Each pass can be used as many as 3 times. Wan Xian scratches his head and says to get everyone to Lin Han's house. Boss Tian folds his hands in prayer as a sign of apology and apologizes for the incident. Tomorrow they will deliver everything. Lin Han puts his palm out in front of Tian's face and says he will forget about the incident this time. He hopes it won't happen again. Lin Han puts his hand to his chin and thinks that judging from Tian's owner's behavior, he had nothing to do with it. Then who was trying to deal with me with the hands of the Minotaur Lord? Lin Han walks down the empty street followed by Fei Hua. Lin Han puts his finger to his chin and thinks that if it was the Ma family trying to get rid of him, it would be too open for them. Fei Hua grabs Lin Han by the cheeks. Lin Han asks what she is doing. Fei Hua smiles and says she just wanted to dispel his sadness, that's all. Lin Han asks Fei Hua with a frown on his face that she too thinks that the Ma family arranged all this. Fei Hua says that covertly changing the properties of the portal or the dungeon itself is not as easy as it seems. As he said, the Ma family must be involved. Lin Han, saying that he thinks it will not stop there, asks if Fei Hua can deal with them. Fei Hua waves her hands and says that even though she is strong, she is no match for the head of their family. This old man is a level 76 master and says that he will soon be able to reach the divine stage. Lin Han is disappointed. Fei Hua yells at Lin Han. Fei Hua calms down and says that on the other hand the head of the Ma family is already too old to get involved in this kind of trouble. I don't think he will personally intervene. However, the Ma family is one of the 20 strongest families in our empire. They have many Supreme Stage Masters and even a few Saint Stage Masters in their ranks. She and her early stage Supreme Stage are no match for them. Fei Hua says that there are 10 Divine Stage Masters. Lin Han claps his hands. Lin Han says Fei Hua is not very strong. She was about to leave and says quit. Lin Han catches her by the arm. Fei Hua stops and turns to Lin Han. Fei Hua asks truth level Lin Han. He says it's a secret. Fei Hua pretends to be nice. Lin Han pulls his hand away and asks her not to get close. Lin Han says he can be compared to a diamond stage master Fei Hua admires. Fei Hua asks Lin Han many questions. Fei Hua asks where they will spend the night. Lin Han allows them to spend the night at his place. Lin Han gets angry and tells Fei Hua not to think too much. In the evening, Fei Hua Lin Han come home. Lin Han's parents are there. The parents are happy for their son. Fei Hua goes to the room.